Hola, buenas. A ver, esto es un poco raro porque llevo muchísimo tiempo sin subir una entrevista. Esta me hace muchísima ilusión y de verdad, no sabéis las ganas que tenía de traerla desde que la grabé. No quería decir nada en Instagram, no quería decir nada en ninguna red social ni ningún tipo de spoiler. Pero, bueno, primero de todo, perdonad el desastre que tengo atrás, espero que no se vea porque la habitación la tengo hecha un desastre. Estoy ordenando cosas, vendiendo cosas, en fin, un montón de cosas que estoy ahí haciendo. Y de verdad, me hace mucha ilusión traer esta entrevista porque a pesar de que a lo mejor no se me note el entusiasmo que tengo porque son las 3:30 de la mañana, hora española, eh, es que me hace tanta ilusión, igual o la misma ilusión, que la entrevista que hice con Damián, que fue la primera que me otorgó y que desde entonces hemos seguido trayendo entrevistas aquí al canal desde entonces, ¿no? Y me da mucha pena porque tengo como 10 o 12 entrevistas grabadas de muchos artistas, algunas incompletas que falta un poco hacer acordar un horario, ¿no? Y un día para poder llevarlas a cabo, pero me da mucha pena haber dejado todo esto aquí un poquito en stand-by. He estado muy liado, ha habido muchos problemas personales de por medio y, coño, quieras o no, tenía ganas de volver, como quien dice, con las entrevistas con un poco más de ánimo, un poco más de, al menos de tiempo, porque tampoco he dispuesto del tiempo. No sé si os lo llegué a contar, pero empecé en una nueva empresa en abril y claro, me ha estado quitando como de media 12 horas al día del trabajo y de mi tiempo libre básicamente. Entonces tampoco he tenido mucho tiempo y el poco tiempo que tenía, debido a estos problemas personales que han derivado en problemas económicos bastante graves, he tenido que hacer limpieza y vender prácticamente toda mi colección de libros, el 99%, películas, el 99-100% casi, y de discos he tenido mucho más cuidado y me he quedado con lo que realmente me interesa. Entonces, por esa parte os pido mil disculpas por la demora en traer esta gran entrevista que todo el mundo me estaba diciendo que la subiera cuanto antes y que ya dije quién iba a ser, ¿no? Entonces, tengo varias cosas que contaros. Primero es esto, perdonad la larga intro, pero es la primera entrevista que Meredith Salvatori, a.k.a. Abriction, concede y me la ha dado a mí, lo cual es algo que me parece un gesto muy bonito y que de pensarlo me emociona un montón. Y, jolín, la verdad es que fue un momento bastante divertido el que pasamos, una charla en la que hablamos de todo. Recuerdo que para prepararme la entrevista estuve más unos 3 días escuchando completamente toda su discografía, desde el primer single hasta el último álbum. Y fue un trabajo duro, pero yo creo que quedó una entrevista bastante chula. Así que nada, antes de dejaros con la entrevista, quería comentaros que también he tardado mucho porque, como os digo, la falta de tiempo pues implica que no he podido tener cuidado ni tratar el tema de los subtítulos. He estado buscando maneras y maneras y he descubierto una nueva manera, que es la que estoy usando para este vídeo, que obviamente no es 99%, 100% accurate o acorde a lo que estamos diciendo. A veces traduce cosas como que no tiene que traducir, nombres de canciones no lo respeta. Por ejemplo, el tema del género, por ejemplo, todo el rato está hablando, cada vez que habla Meredith y dice, por ejemplo, yo que sé, I'm very nervous, dice estoy nervioso en vez de estoy nerviosa. Son cosas que desde ya pido disculpas por ello, porque sé que me hubiera gustado tener un tratamiento mucho más accurate o más intensivo, ¿no? A la hora de traer los subtítulos, pero no he dispuesto del tiempo ni muchas veces de la energía, así que para las personas que seáis hispanohablantes, os pido mil disculpas porque a veces traducirá cosas de una manera muy random, así que espero que con los subtítulos que ya me ha generado esta herramienta nueva, que al fin y al cabo es como una evolución de lo que ya estaba utilizando, espero que con esto se entienda todo lo mejor posible. Es la primera entrevista de Abriction en vídeo, la hicimos en inglés, entonces los subtítulos están en español, ahí. O sea, el 90% está bien traducido, hay muchos detalles, como digo, adjetivos, nombres propios que no traduce del todo bien, y a veces en vez de poner en los subtítulos Abriction, pone Abduction y cosas así, que por esa parte os pido mil disculpas. Y nada, así que os dejo con esta entrevista de casi 3 horas. De verdad, disfrútala mucho porque lo pasé muy bien y se vienen más artistas. Eh, Desde aquí digo ya, no voy a poder tener el esmero y el tiempo necesarios para tener tanto cuidado con los subtítulos, así que hispanohablantes os pido mil disculpas. Bastante creo yo es el esfuerzo que estoy haciendo con traer subtítulos en español dentro de lo que cabe. Así que os pido mil disculpas por las faltas que pueda haber, ¿no?, en los subtítulos y las traducciones no muy realistas. Y de nuevo, muchas gracias por todo el apoyo que he estado viendo desde entonces. Y nada, espero que disfrute mucho la entrevista. Y nada, os va a caer muy bien Meredith. Es encantadora, de verdad. Espero que os guste mucho. Próxima entrevista, pronto. Generaré los subtítulos automáticamente y ahí quedarán, porque lo importante es el contenido de la entrevista, que yo creo que con lo que hablamos en inglés, que yo creo que mi acento es bastante genérico, junto con su inglés, mezclado con los subtítulos de español, creo que se entiende bastante bien la entrevista para los hispanohablantes. De nuevo, muchas gracias por todo y disfrutarlo, sentaos, coger algo de comer, de beber, porque esto es largo, esto es una peli larga, esto es una peli de Nolan. Así que nada, muchas gracias por todo de nuevo y nos vemos en el próximo vídeo. Disfrutad mucho la entrevista, dejar like y comentarios como siempre y decidme quién queréis que sea el próximo entrevistado o entrevistada y nos vemos en el próximo vídeo. Chao, chao. And that's it. So first of all, thank you for joining. Like, I think you told me that it's your first video interview as well.
Yes,
This is
this
crazy.
is.
Thank you really much for giving me that chance, because I don't know if you have been doing some other type of interviews like text interviews or even podcast or audio. Nothing?
No, nothing.
Oh my
This is the
god.
first of any kind.
I really appreciate that, the fact that you are doing this, the first one. And I have like several blocks of questions. I have one that is called personal questions, that is more related to your person as well.
Yeah.
Another one called musical questions, that is more like related to Abriction, but in general, like, influences, creative process, and all that stuff. And then I have like three different blocks that for me, you have like a first era, like first stage, that is more like hip hop, trap
Yeah.
and cloud rap and whatever. And then there is a transition era that you started making or experimenting with some other type of music. And then your actual stage. And so let's begin with the personal questions. I want to make it this like more like an interview as a conversation, like I don't want to make this sound like professional or whatever, just having a conversation like we are drinking a cup of tea or whatever.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I know that this is like a really awkward question. I know, and I'm really sorry for doing it, but for those people who don't know you, could you introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Meredith Salvatori, and I have been making music since I was like 12 years old, and I'm the creator of Abriction. That's just me. Now there's one other person in Abriction, kind of, who does like acoustic drums, and that's Colin McAndrew.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's me. I just make music.
That's nice. So I'm really curious about, you told me right now, like, but I want to know, like, when did your fascination with music begin? That's a really tough question as well. And when did you start playing instruments and composing?
I feel like I've always had an interest in music because when I was a kid, my dad my parents played a variety of music like on the radio and stuff. Like my dad was into like heavier stuff, like he would play Metallica and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of metal and stuff, but also a lot of like disco and stuff from like the 70s and like um my mom liked a lot of stuff too, like country and um I think she was also kind of into some rock as well. So I was exposed to rock and like metal like since I was, a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the main thing that got me into making music would be like I think maybe it might have actually been hip hop that got me into making music
Hmm.
at first. And then like the metal and stuff I grew up with would come back to me later, but originally it was like hip hop that got me into making music
Hmm.
because I was really into like old New York rap, and they sample stuff, like they sample like older records and chop it up, and I got into that for a while. And that's where I realized like I can make music at home. And I think I was like 11 or 12 at this
Wow.
time. But and then playing instruments, I think that came kind of later. Like I think when I was like 15, that's when I started like playing guitar.
Hmm.
And I never really took it seriously. I would just like play around with it. And then eventually I got back into like metal and stuff and emo or whatever. And it was, I don't know, it just all kind of fell into place.
Yeah, it came back later, right?
Yeah.
In a different stage of your life, we can say it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I want to know, like, there's something that I'm really curious about as well. And, on a day-to-day basis, like, how do you actually balance your personal life and musical life? Because you've been releasing, like, a lot of music since you started,
Mhm.
mostly in the beginnings, because it wasn't, like, more hip hop stuff, and there was, like, a lot of beat making and music as well. So how
Yeah.
do you balance that in your daily life?
I feel like I don't really balance it that much. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of my time at home is spent making music. And like this month has been one month where I've had like no time to make music, and it's bittersweet. It's kind of
Mm.
stressful, but a lot of times I don't really like to not make music. Like if I go to bed and I didn't work on anything, I feel very bad. Like I feel like I wasted time.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I don't really have much of a balance.
So you are very strict with yourself, talking about
Yes.
in a creative way.
Yeah.
I kind of relate to that in a little bit, but it's actually as you said, you feel kind of bad when you don't create some music before going to sleep, if we can say it. Um, but at the same time, this month could be like a little bit of rest, right? Or no? Or it was stressful anyway.
I think this month has been some rest. Like I have felt rested this month because I've been away from home so much that now I'm getting to like experience life and stuff,
Hmm.
and going to see my family and stuff. But I usually don't do that. I usually just stay here and make music. So it's in some way it's kind of nice to take a break and get inspiration, but at the
Yeah,
same time it's like I feel like I'm a month behind in work. Like
yeah.
I have um like a lot of projects that are on pause now because I'm not working on it right now.
So you have a lot of music like going on.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. That's actually great. So there is another question in this personal questions blog that I would love you to answer. In
Mhm.
your lyrics, we can see some elements of, we can say, depression, heartbroken relationships, in
Yeah.
introspection as well. How does everyday life emotion problems influence the way you write music and lyrics?
I think it completely influences it. I think that um I don't realize it when I'm making my music because I don't really like think about it in the moment, but when I look back at my lyrics, I think like, wow, like I know what I was feeling when I wrote that or something. Like
Hmm.
um I think that's a lot of my I've been told a lot of my lyrics are kind of like depressing. And I never really think about that when I'm making it, but that's what people have said.
Yeah, because maybe some people feel kind of connected or related to the lyrics that you are
Yeah.
writing. So maybe if they are like struggling or going on in a difficult situation and they relate to some feelings that are expressed in the lyrics, maybe that's why they say that it's depressing. For me, it depends on the stage of my life, because sometimes for me, even sad music for me is like a healing way to feel better.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the perspective, or the stage of your life that you are going through. It's just that, I
Yeah.
guess. So, moving on to something more musical, more general. In this first era of Abriction, we have to, highlight the high quality of beat making and production. I have to highlight it. When and why did you start to make beats and produce music? And also, how do you think is important, in production to conveying your emotions and atmosphere?
Um, I I really don't remember much of how I got into making beats. I think it was just like I said, like I was into hip hop at that time,
Hmm.
and like I said, I didn't really take it seriously. I would just like play around with it, and then eventually I just kept, you know, I just kept with it. I just kept doing it.
Hmm.
But I think even then, like when I was making just beats, I think that there was still emotion in it. Like
Hmm.
I think I was still expressing emotion in like the melodies and stuff.
Yeah, and actually, you can feel that we are gonna talk about it later when we scroll through your discography since the first release until the last one.
Mhm.
You can feel talking in this first era that there's like a lot of improvement and evolution in terms of production and beat making, but
Yeah.
with just a short difference in time. Like it doesn't happen like even 5 or 6 years that you can evolve. You evolved really fast, and and you improve a lot in beat making, and and you are an example of someone that starts his musical project in a stage, and and it ends up in something like more evolved and improved. Like there's always an evolution in every release, or there is something that I feel, and I guess that that's why you are strict with yourself, and also I feel that you are ambitious or maybe perfectionist in in the music that you do.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think part of the reason why it seems like there's so much evolution between every project, I think, is because there's so much music that I'm constantly making like every day that I guess in the stuff I release, you don't really see everything that I'm making. You
Yeah.
only see the stuff I chose to release, but I'm always making stuff. So I guess that would be why um the evolution of the sound is so quick, like from one project to another. And I also think that with each album, I like them to have like a theme, like a specific feeling to it, you
Yeah.
know. And then in the next album, I'll explore something else.
So there's a new album, like you're working on a new album as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'm always working. I have a few new albums that I'm working
Oh
on.
my god.
That's the thing that is kind of stressful is I start a lot of projects at
Hmm.
once. So like it's not even just my own projects that I have. I also have projects, a number of projects with other artists.
Oh.
Yeah. And I probably have like 7 different like EPs that I'm working on at once right now.
Oh my god.
And I just bounce between them.
That's crazy actually. Like
Yeah.
wow, I'm impressed of that. Like that's like so stressful. If I work like 9 hours a day, and I play bass, I play guitar, I play drums and everything. And for me, it's a stressful life. I don't know how how can I feel if I have your life actually. Like it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I will be waiting for that new releases. Like, oh my god. There is something that maybe people are curious, and maybe there's like mostly 90% of people that answers this is like there's always a simple story. But what is the origin of the name of the main project, Abriction, and what does it represent to you? Maybe it's like really simple, but
Yeah. Abriction is really simple. Um I think what it is I before anybody really listened to my music, I would just always like put a random name on my YouTube channels
Mm-hmm.
and just post music and then eventually change my name to some other random name. And it was just all random because nobody was really listening, so I didn't really care. But the name Abriction specifically is when I was a lot younger, like 7 or 8 years old, I had a friend on Xbox whose name was Abriction, and I didn't know what it meant.
Uh-huh.
And I used to just use that name everywhere. and like, and I guess it just stuck. Like, so it doesn't really have any meaning to me.
For me,
Sometimes I,
for me it
sometimes I,
has.
really,
Yeah, because you say that you were playing Xbox. I'm an Xbox guy as well. When I was
oh
playing
really?
Xbox 360, and you remember? Do you remember when in Xbox 360 you could send like audio message with your
Yes.
terrific microphone from Xbox, like close to your mouth like this?
Yeah.
So that's crazy
Yeah.
that the name actually comes from gamer tag in Xbox
Yes.
360. And sorry, I
Yeah.
interrupt you.
No, it's okay. Yeah, that name just kind of stuck because when I was a kid, I really liked that name. So I started using it and it just stuck. So to me, it doesn't really have any meaning. Sometimes I think that I wish that it was a different name. Like I wish I could have picked a better name, but it's okay.
It's unique, so that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is something. Uh, it's kind of awkward this question as well, and kind of journalist question. And I don't really
Mhm.
like to make it, but at the same time, I'm really interested. And what would you say that they are like your main musical influences behind first the project Abriction and individually, like in your day-to-day life? Really difficult one, I guess.
That's a very difficult one. I would say it would depend on which era of Abriction. Like right now,
Mm-hmm.
like for the past like 4 years, my you asked my musical influences, right?
Mm-hmm.
My musical influences would be like there's a lot of like emo bands that I grew up with, or like pop punk or kind
Mm-hmm.
of metalcore bands that I grew up with that
Yeah.
I think really influenced me a lot. And one of the main one I think would be Thrice.
Mm-hmm.
And another big one would be Nine Inch Nails
Nice.
because my dad was very into Nine Inch Nails, so I heard a lot of that growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of my exposure to like emo stuff or pop punk or whatever was through like when I was a kid, I played like Tony Hawk games, like
Yeah.
skateboarding stuff.
Oh my god.
And
I discovered a
there's
lot of music there. Yeah.
yes, there's that those games really like shaped my taste in music. So that would be like my biggest influence. Um, and I think early on when I was making beats and stuff, my influence was a little bit more in like hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to really remember like who my influences were back then. But
Bones.
it would be Bones. Yeah, I'm glad that you knew that. I was gonna say that, but at first a lot of like New York rap, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely Bones. I think Bones still is an influence to me, like right now.
Yeah, Bones for me is like one of my favorite hip hop artists. But
Yeah.
like because of the concept that there's always behind their music, the group of people that they are with him, even the cover arts, even the aesthetic of the music as well.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs of all time is from Bones, "If Bring Me to Life."
Oh yes,
That is
yes.
like a really sad song, and but I really love Bones as well. So I'm really glad that you actually is like a really big influence in your hip hop stuff.
Hmm. I'm a
Otherwise,
very big Bones fan.
yeah, same here. Also, uh, we are gonna discuss it later. But I remember that you were like sampling like a lot of Memphis rap in
Yeah.
your hip hop era. Like I don't know if I'm wrong, but I guess 36 Mafia, all that type
Yes.
of horrorcore is called. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about the genre, all the stuff, but for me, it was like some beats kind of remind me of Suicide Boys in 2016 or something like that. So that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's really amazing.
I think at that time I was listening to I wasn't I was listening to Suicide Boys a little bit at that time as well. But definitely mainly like Bones. Like in that scene of hip hop, like SoundCloud stuff or whatever, he was my favorite.
Yeah, we are gonna let me say another stuff that I was gonna tell
Mhm.
later. Then maybe I'll repeat it. I don't know because I have it here in annotations. But there was a song that you sampled, a song that is actually sampled as well from the song Teeth by XXX Tentacion. The song Teeth.
Yeah. Um,
That was crazy.
is it wait,
I don't remember the. I have the name of the song like in a couple pages. We
mhm,
can go later in
yeah.
that part. But for me, it was like really interesting that you were sampling a song that was already sampled by another artist that it was already sampled with another guy.
I feel like I might know because I remember some years ago somebody asked me
Mm-hmm.
if I sampled X, and I was like, no, I didn't know he sampled that. But I might know which one, but later when you get to it,
Yeah,
you'll tell me.
yeah. That song is from X, but it's that song from X is actually sampled. Is sampling another song that is the original one that you are sampling. If I'm not wrong, it's something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so sorry for that. Let's move to the something that is I'm really interested in every person, every band, artist, whatever that I bring here. Um, your creative process feel very intentional and detailed. Could you tell me, the steps to make an Abriction song from the initial idea through recording, production, mastering, all that stuff until the release? Which are the steps?
So I think it's very unorganized. I think every Abriction song starts off very differently. There's a lot of times where I will be laying in the bed to go to sleep and I'll think of like a melody or a rhythm or something and I have to get out of bed and go record it
Mm-hmm.
before I can sleep. So sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it'll be um it's really hard to say how it starts because it can start differently every time, but
Mm-hmm.
I think when I start with a melody that I really like, that's when I really end up focusing only on that song
Mm-hmm.
until it's done because it's a habit for me to like only complete a song like halfway and then go work on another song. And I think that's most of what I do is I get distracted by other songs, but um, it's really hard to say
Mm-hmm.
what the
So
process is because it's very different every time.
So you first get a like a skeleton of the song, and then you build it, and then you move to another song and keep going.
Yeah, a lot of times my songs will start with like one melody that appears somewhere in the middle of the song, and then I'll build around that. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, it can be different every time.
Really interesting. Like, I think when I always mention this, but the first interview that I did here was with Damian, and
Mhm.
when he came, I asked him the same question, and he was like, I sit down with the guitar and I start playing whatever, and then I build up from that. And I love that every person that comes here has like a different creative process. Like for me, it's really interesting to understand more about the personality, even the of the artist that I'm interviewing. So
Mhm.
for me, it's like really really interesting asking this because it's not, as you said, it's something like maybe it's not a planned section like to create your music. Like you don't have a structure to create your music or whatever. But it's really interesting that many like each person gives me a different answer, so that's like inspiring in some kind of way. And I really like to make this question because of that. And also there's like another question that it doesn't make that is not connected with this one, but it's really interesting for me as well. And I've noticed that the high quality of the artwork, the cover arts that you use in your music, what
Mhm.
actually inspires you when choosing a specific cover arts? Where does it come from? And do you feel that it honestly reflects the music that people are gonna listen to? Like for you, the cover art represents the music the people are gonna listen in some kind of way.
That's a very good question. Yes, for me, I think when I choose cover art, it's very specific to the sound of the music, to me at least. Um, I think my first influence with cover art was definitely, like we said earlier, Bones.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of grainy, it's kind of like dark and everything. Um, but I think that the colors in the image, and that's a very important detail for me. I think my favorite cover art that I've done would probably be maybe this orange album called Parkway.
Yeah,
It has a really
the
long title.
Parkway Drive. No, I parked the Jeep in a Parkway Drive in
Yeah,
Bronx or something like
yeah,
that. That's like long name.
yeah. It's a very long name, but
Yeah.
yeah, that cover art I think is my favorite, even though it's the most simple, because orange is my favorite color, and I think orange makes me feel very like nostalgic and
Hmm.
emotional. And that neighborhood in that photo is a neighborhood that I kind of grew up in New York, and it's very important to me, and I'm really glad that I got that picture on that album
Hmm.
because the feelings that I was going through on that album, I think, are very they're very like teenager, and I
Hmm.
think that it's very nice to have like my childhood neighborhood on that album. But I think that cover art is very important to me.
Hmm.
Even like on my last album, it's kind of like it's a little more like grimy, like it looks kind of like
Hmm.
messy, and I think that it's very fitting with the music that is on there.
Yeah, and also in this last album, I have to highlight the Neversoft reference in
Yeah.
the title as well.
Yes. Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, and the Tony Hawk reference even in the title of the first song as well. So I really appreciate it. You have consistently released your work, sorry, in physical formats, which is nowadays really rare. Uh,
Mhm.
how would you describe your relationship with Third House, with Catherine, Jacob, and so on? And what role do you think the label plays within music in general? And also, sorry, are you planning on keep releasing physical copies for your music?
Um, yeah, I think I will always release physical copies. I think I usually just go with whatever label reaches out to me first and wants to do a run of like vinyls or tapes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But with Third House, like they're good friends to me. Like I've played with them live a few times. When they were doing shows for Damien,
Mm-hmm.
like Life or Sadness. And I've talked to them a lot for the past couple of years, and they're very nice.
Yeah, they are great, and actually, when we are talking about physical copies, I forgot to bring here the Forbidden Bounds physical copy that I got from Third House. That I'm actually not just because we are doing the interview, but I have like in the shopping cart, I have the Banshee physical copy as well, like in the shopping cart. And
Nice.
if I'm
Yeah.
not wrong, I have the I don't know if I'm making a mistake here. No, the orange one, I think it doesn't have a physical copy if I'm not wrong, or it's sold out. I don't
Mhm.
know. But I have like something, some thoughts on buying that physical copies as well because I usually talk about this like a lot, and people are gonna be annoyed because of this. But I always say that having like owning physical copies is the best way to hug or embrace the music that you enjoy. It's like the best way to have like a piece of your of feeling in a tangible way. I don't know if I'm
I
explaining it
agree.
well.
I definitely agree.
And that's why I have thousands of the physical formats. I cannot even walk in my own home, and everything is messy. So that's why. Um, I don't know about this because I've been doing some research and I didn't find any information. But were you previously part, or you are actually part of other projects like with other people or bands? Well, you can say also the other project that you have if you want to. And
Mhm.
what role did you play in each of them? If there was another project or past project that you were like with some people or whatever, if you want to talk about it, honestly.
I've never been part of any other music project with
Mm-hmm.
anybody else. I have like my own other project that I only started like very recently, and it's mainly to release a lot of like old electronic music that I made a few years ago that I don't think it would fit on Abriction,
Hmm.
but that one is called Heaven for a Heartache. And but other than that, I've never been part of any project. I mean, I've like I've collaborated with people and like worked on other songs, but I've never been part of any like other band or anything.
Hmm. Okay, that's so nice as well. Uh, I saw that you were like, we are gonna talk about it later more deeply, but you were doing like collaborating with Damian for live concerts sometimes in 2024, if I'm not wrong. Like in
Yes.
that, uh, how can Beat Kitchen? That was the concert I saw the first time that I saw that you were there and you did like a wonderful job and
Thank
congrats
you.
on that. But I didn't saw like any Abriction live concert. Are you planning on doing some Abriction live concerts in the future? Are you planning something, or do you want to get like you are just a studio artist?
There are definitely things planned.
Wow.
There's I have done more shows with Damien than just the Beat Kitchen one.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
had a couple more Sadness shows, and then we did two life shows together. I don't think I've ever found any video of either of those live shows, but one of them, one of the live shows, I think the reason why there's no videos of it is because it was at like this festival, and I think this show
Uh,
there weren't many life fans there. It was like a lot more like random people,
yeah.
and but it was very nice. So I've played with Damien a few times for Life and Sadness or whatever,
Yeah. I saw
and
that.
and
Yeah.
there's plans to do more stuff as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I wish I can see someday like an Instagram post that you're gonna play. Even I'm from Spain, so it's like impossible to, well, not impossible, but expensive as fuck to
Yeah,
travel to New York or even United States in general. I would
yeah.
love to see that you are like headlining some kind of third house festival. That would be amazing if if they do something like that, and that will be like super nice. And I think that you like you you shine a lot in live concerts. Like you release like a lot of light and energy. So that's why I was like curious and surprised that you didn't make like a lot of concerts in general. But talking about in terms of Abriction, I was more surprised that it was like any live concert for that project. So yeah.
I think I think that uh I think this year that I have a lot more plans with Abriction. I didn't have a band put together for
Hmm.
the past few years, and I think that's the main reason is like it's only me making the music.
Hmm.
So I didn't really have anyone to play the other instruments live, but now I have a lot more, I know a lot more people now, and um I think this year will be a really fun year for live
Wow.
stuff.
Wow, that's amazing. Congrats on that. And Colin is like a really big help in terms of drums, right?
Yes,
In,
absolutely.
I hope that I can, see you someday. Maybe I don't know. When Damian comes to Europe, that he told me that it's not impossible. You
Mhm.
have to come as well and make another 20 concerts in a day.
Yeah, that would be very fun.
That would be really fun. And we are moving to this tough scrolling to your discography.
Mhm.
I'm gonna like mention every release, every single, every EP, every album. It's gonna be a little bit difficult in that terms, and you just tell me when you want. Okay, I have a lot of
Okay.
annotations of each one of the. I've been like 3 days completely, like my whole free time, listening to your whole discography, because I always like to have every part of the context to to put feelings, we can say feelings or emotions on the questions, and you know to, I don't know, I always like to do that. Even the discography is really big that I didn't know until I do some research. And in March 2016 you released your first song called Endless Conversation, if I'm not wrong. Maybe you did like a lot of, as you said, a lot of songs earlier, but if
Mhm.
I'm not wrong, that's the first one you released as Abriction, maybe, if I'm not
Yeah.
wrong. There is a song with a beautiful hip hop beat that used the piano to create the melodies of the beat. Going back in the past, how do you feel about this release? Do you remember how life was back then? Why did you decide to start this project, creating hip hop beats?
I feel like life back then, it's very hard for me to remember. I think it was just very boring.
Mm-hmm.
And I find honestly a lot of those beats to be like reminiscent of a very boring time in my life. Like I don't really look back on them very fondly. Like I kind of do remember endless conversation a little bit, and I think that was really just me messing around. I don't feel like I was taking it very seriously, but I think I think it's kind of a little boring song. But
I
at the
think,
same time, it is
mhm,
very cool to like see that was where I started.
yeah, and you can, and if you play that song and you play the last song, well, the last song not actually, but the most recent hip hop Abriction song, you can feel like the difference in every term, and that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's why I think that even is the first one, and you can feel kind of maybe not embarrassed, maybe you feel like a little bit awkward about that first release.
yeah.
It's beautiful how you, in a few years, like not a lot, you improved a lot in that term. So that first single had to happen to to have the music that you have today. So that's actually, I will remember that, like maybe a little bit embarrassed, or maybe a little bit, I was really young and I didn't know what I was doing at that moment, but at the same time it's like really beautiful that the fact that that was the first release, and now your last release was a post-hardcore emo metalcore album.
Yeah.
So that's actually amazing. And then it happened like almost a year. In 2017, you released your second single called Cocobolo. That is another song with another beautiful beat that used a really catchy sample. I don't know if you remember this song, but I was really curious about the sample that is like playing in the song. I don't know if you can answer me this, or you just want to talk about the song. It's okay, any of them.
I can't really even remember what that song sounded like.
It's fine.
I think a lot of my music I don't really even remember it. Like after I make it, I don't remember a lot of it.
It's fine. So how do you? Well, do you feel that you laughed at the title? Because
Yeah.
it's really like Coco Bolo is something that is really Spanish, like a really Spanish word as well. So that's really funny. I really like the song as well. In July 2018, you released Nutrition Facts, a song that's I love the name of the song. I don't know. I don't know. A song that has like a spacey vibe and a really interesting hip hop beat. Why did you decide to make the song, and why Nutrition Facts? I really love the name.
I think back then, I think even now, I was always very random with like picking my song titles,
Yeah.
like Coco Bolo. I think, I think even though I don't remember the song, I remember why I picked that name. I think at the time I was watching like this show called Better Call Saul or
Yeah.
something, and I think I heard that word somewhere in there, and I looked it up, and I was like, "That's an interesting word," and it was just in my head, and I used it. And I think nutrition facts is like the same way. I'm not sure why I picked that. I think it might be also like the Bones influence of just like random titles like that.
Random
I was
title.
very influenced by Bones at that time.
Yeah, and also all all, if it's a sentence, remove the space between the sentences and the words,
Yeah.
and you like put them together, and every word is with a capitalized letter in each one of
Hmm.
them. So I was gonna say that in this one, because in March 2019 you released your first album as Abriction, slowly but surely. That it has like a double meaning with 9 songs, which I noticed that every song title and even the album title is all capitalized without any space between the words. That I can feel. You told me earlier that you were at that moment some kind of fan of the rapper Bones, And also you can feel the emo and dark vibes in these type of beats. What was your inspiration, and why did you decide to release this first album as such, if you remember about the album?
I think at that time I was very influenced by like the whole like Team Sesh group that
Mm-hmm.
Bones is part of, and I was really into like all their instrumentals and stuff. And I think the only reason I released a lot of those instrumental albums was I think it was just to have a place to like put them all so I could like show my friends or whatever. Like, but it's kind of weird. Even at that time, like I still felt kind of emotional about the songs on there. Like they had some kind of abstract meaning
Yeah,
when I would make the title or something, but um it's definitely hard to really remember what I
yeah.
was doing in a lot of those.
It's normal. Like I can tell you that my favorite song here is "Where Did I Go From Here." It's my favorite song
Oh
from
yeah.
that first album, and I will also like to to highlight the '80s vibe of the song. I'm not spring chicken. That is it has that '80s vibe, and I really enjoyed that song when
Yeah.
I was listening to it. And then in April 2019, you released this album called "I'm Not Here to Entertain You," in which the songs are actually like hip hop beats combined with synths, piano, acoustic guitars, acoustic drums, and different melodies. Why did you? Well, this is like more technical. You can talk about it if you want. Why did you decide to use this type of sounds and instrumentals to for these first works? Well, you told me this. What were the influences in that moment? Were you in charge of production and mastering as well? Because it sounds really polished, like the sound of this album. And lastly, I can repeat the questions if you want. And lastly, I have to highlight the song called "I'm Not Pretty Enough." It makes me feel like really calm, and it's just beautiful. Like, congrats on that song, because it's like one of my favorite songs that you ever released it, like in your discography.
I actually had to like pull that album up again because I feel like that album I really remember the least. Because I really forgot about that project.
It makes
But
sense. There's a lot.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff I made at that time. That album I definitely remember the least. I'm not here to entertain you. What did you ask about it?
A lot of questions, but we can say that why did you decide to use this type of sounds in instrumentals? Maybe that's why you told me
Mm,
about the Team Sesh influence in that moment. What were the influences? So it's like the kind of similar question. And if you were
yes.
in charge of production and mastering in that time.
Yeah, at that time it was definitely still all me. And I think the only reason for like the different, maybe the slight change in production on that album was just, I guess, the music I was listening to. I was listening to a lot of like indie music at that time, or like folk or whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite artists in that year, I remember I was really listening to like Bon Iver
Mm-hmm.
and just a lot of like indie stuff. I think at that time I even liked this band called Rainbow Kitten Surprise, which is kind of like a that style of music. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's why it sounds the way it sounds. There's a lot of guitar samples and stuff.
Yeah, totally. That release, I remember it really well. Like
Mhm.
that song, Am I Not Pretty Enough? For me,
Mhm.
uh, even I can relate to the name, to the title of the song. So for
Yeah,
me, it's like more deep that it actually sounds like that title. So I congrats on that song. Like, it's really amazing.
thank you.
In the same month and year, you released your second EP. I know this is gonna be really long. Just stay calm, chill. This is gonna be really long, okay? And you can stop
Mhm.
me whenever you want. And I promise. There's another EP called "Why Did You Bond Like You Don't Believe Me," where you explore the same type of sounds, but you actually went further, using even tribal beats, funk, different instruments, and in general experimenting more. What was the main intention behind this EP?
That album I do remember because I did really like that album. I'm not really sure what. my inspiration to make that album was, but I feel like it was very atmospheric, and I think that's what I
Mhm.
was going for. Like I'm looking at the track list right now, and the song that
Yeah, I
I
have a lot
really
of
liked,
highlight songs here. Storm Clouds. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. We should head home. It's getting dark and out of time.
yeah,
My favorite ones in this one in this EP.
the one that I really remember from that one is "We Should Head Home." I like that one. It's like kind of influenced by like Clams Casino or like cloud rap
Oh,
producers and
yay!
stuff. Yeah.
Oh
I
my
forgot
god!
to mention he was a very big influence, obviously, for me.
Wow, it's been a lot of time without listening to his music. Oh my god!
Yeah.
And all that. If I'm not wrong, he was related to Joji, or I'm wrong.
Joji?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I
I don't really know much about him.
I think they have like a song together, if I'm not wrong, with Rich Ryan. That is another Japanese, or I don't know if he's Japanese. He started making like trap beats, and later he was like making something more organic. But that was curious. Like Clams Casino is like I really listened to that like a long time ago, and I highlight Storm Clouds. We should head home. It's getting dark and out of time. And
Yeah.
also in this first EPs, well, you told me a little bit, but how did you choose the album covers? Where did you get that inspiration in this first EPs, if you remember?
In the first EPs, I think some of them were at this time because I wasn't taking music that seriously and I didn't ever expect anybody to like listen to these besides like my friends or whatever. Some of the pictures I think were just random pictures from like Pinterest, which I don't like to do that anymore. Like I always like to make my own. But I think like two of those album covers were just from online. And that would be the "Why Do You Sound Like You Don't Believe Me" and "I'm Not Here to Entertain." Those two I think were from something I found online. But everything else um is my own pictures. And that specific album, I don't really know why I chose that picture. I guess at that time I felt like it fit somehow. It felt like
Mhm.
mysterious or lo-fi or something.
Yeah, it was kind of as we said earlier, it was like a reflection of the
Yeah.
music that was inside the EP. So it was like how can I say it? Like a spoiler of what we what you were gonna listen in that
Yeah.
EP. In September 2019, you released another album called Loser, which I find really pessimistic, sad, and chaotic. What will, well, you can tell me if you want to, but it's something that really more personal. It was like really curious about it, but you can tell me or not telling me. What were you going through in that stage of your life? Once again, reaching out and make sparks are my favorite songs in this EP.
I think at that time I was still just like a very like troubled teenager and I feel like that's probably what the titles come from on that album. I think that was it's really hard to say because it all blends in together for me, but
Hmm.
like the albums at that time. But I guess on that album it was probably just being kind of like lonely and sad in my room.
Hmm.
I think that's pretty much how that album came about.
Yeah, it's really sad and pessimistic, and some of the songs I add them to my sad playlist. So
Mhm.
congrats on that. That's a really beautiful thing to achieve. That someone is adding some song of yourself like in their playlist or something.
No, that's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah. In the same month and year, you really also released another album. You were like popping off. You were like
Mhm.
releasing every couple weeks or whatever. You released another album called Synesthesia, which I found
Mhm.
really dark and experimental and quite different from the other you released before. And also notice that the songs are even longer than they usually were. Why did you decide to make longer songs on this album and later, obviously? And what is the main concept behind this album, if you remember about it, the
I
Synesthesia one?
think on that album, I feel like I didn't end up doing what I wanted to do with it. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
kind of make it more experimental to kind of explore the real topic of synesthesia, but I it just ended up being like another beat compilation. But I think I'm not sure why the songs were longer. I think this was around the time where I started playing guitar because I
Hmm.
think there is some of my own guitar on that album. And yeah, I think this was the time where I started like experimenting with real instruments and stuff.
Yeah, and also that this is the album because I'm remembering the cover now. The cover art is the one that is really dark with a broken TV on it or something like that.
Yeah, I think that is this one.
I really enjoy this one. Like the songs "Vivid," "A Harlem Story," "Carbon" for me are my favorite ones in this album as well. I always
Yeah.
highlight some songs if so I can make you remember more about the EP if it's old enough to don't remember about it. In the same
Mhm.
month and year, you also released the single "Did You Really Mean That?" An ethereal dark song where you use a sample several times. And the same question again: where does the sample come from? If you remember, and uh, and what did you say to release this song in that era? If you remember about this song.
I can't remember a lot of the samples from that time, but I think that song was just kind of like that song was probably one of the less meaningful songs because I remember making that one. It was just like one morning,
Mm-hmm.
and I just really liked that beat, and that's why I posted it. But that song I probably remember like nothing about.
It's
Like
totally
I don't
fine.
remember the sample.
It's okay. I just make like annotations for every release
Yeah,
that you did, and I had some questions at that moment, so
yeah.
they were like recent, and that's totally fine. In the same month and year, you also released Mutiny, if I'm not wrong, the title. One of my favorite
Mhm.
hip hop beats that you ever made. For me, as I said, it sounds like the really old Sweet Side Boys, Ghost
Yeah,
Main type vibe, and I really enjoyed it nowadays. Where did you get that inspiration to create that beat? Maybe you were listening to that kind of stuff in that moment.
that beat. I actually made that beat like 3 years before I released it. So I think it was like 2016 or 2017 when I actually made that beat. And at that time, like 2017, at that time, I was listening to a lot of, like you said, Suicide Boys and Night Lavelle, like
Oh my god,
just
yes.
just that kind of rap. And I think that's definitely the inspiration. I really did like that beat at that time. Like I felt like that beat was like the coolest thing I had ever made at that time.
Hmm. It's an amazing song as well.
Thank you.
After these singles, you release. Oh my god, this album. I mean, fuck you for this one. You released Clouds of Talking Mercury, like a
Uh,
25 songs album, which has a really. I remember listening to it like it was like making annotations to each song, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do like an overall opinion on this one because like it's like a lot, which has a
yeah.
really ambient vibe, and it really has that post rock vibe that is so amazing. It's like really different for me in that aspect. I have to highlight some songs here: "Run for Cover," "Satin Skies," "Time Cycle." My dad warned me about people like you that I can relate to that title as well, and
Mhm.
Fractal. That for me this album is really good, but like I didn't expect like 25 songs.
I think when I was making beats, it was a lot easier to like pump stuff out. Like
Mhm.
now that I think there's a little bit more thought that goes into my music, and maybe I just spend more time with each song because I care a lot more about like mixing and mastering and how it sounds.
Mhm.
And also, I do like vocals on every song now, and recording takes a lot longer than just sitting there and clicking things in, you know.
Totally.
And um, just a lot of things make the whole process take a little bit longer now. But back then, I kind of missed being able to like just pump stuff out, like just make like 3 songs a day. Like that was fun. I want to be able to still do that.
But
And
that
I
actually
think,
is really amazing. Sorry for interrupting, but it's really amazing that at that time you were that creative. Like you said that you were like in a boring stage of your life that you had like a lot of
yes,
time to do whatever you want, but you have to be creative. Like I can be like sitting or laying down on my sofa, but I can be like the less creative person ever. So you decided to create music because you were bored, and that's it. And you were
yes.
releasing like a lot of music. and that's actually really impressive, I have to say.
Thank you.
So that's really amazing. And then a day before Halloween in 2019, you released Daily Moisturizer. I don't know the meaning in Spanish, so it's maybe I don't know. A short but experimental song that I have to highlight how dark it was. A really dark song. And also on Halloween in 2019, you released another album called Note to Self, in which you explore more dark and even electronic sounds. I have to highlight some songs as well. Uh, okay, Moon Boots. You brought this upon yourself. Sending client info 404, and your bags are on the driveway. That this one reminds me a lot of Kill Yourself Part 3 by Suicide Boys.
I agree with that completely because it's like it was these dark, like heavy trap beats, but with like emotional piano and stuff, like melodic. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good comparison, that song.
Yeah, when I was listening to it, I remember when it was 2022, I guess, when
Mhm.
they came to Spain. Suicide Boys, like, for me, it was the best event ever. Like, they don't usually, like, go to Spain, like any band, like, they don't usually go. And when they came here, I was like, I remember when they played this song, and I always with my friends, like, we drink like a couple beers before going in the concert, and we were
Mhm.
like really happy, like, holding our shoulders and singing the song. So for me,
Yeah.
it was like a really beautiful comparison, because when I listen to this song, I just remember that moment. So that's really fine. And you have to be proud of when someone tells you that, when you achieve with a song, that it reminds, you know I explain better. You have to feel proud because someone thinks that your song sounds like Kill Yourself Part 3. Like,
Yeah.
that's totally amazing.
Yeah, that definitely is a compliment.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Then in December 2019, we are gonna make a little bit faster, but this is really interesting.
Mm.
Exactly this part is amazing. You released your longest album of your entire life, and my favorite one of this stage of Abriction, I have to say, or at least the one with the most quantity of songs. The album cold and really relatable, I have to say. I made a decision that will haunt me for the rest of my days. That's the I can say that the first time that I decided to start working. So
Yeah.
that's really relatable, and which we keep getting these cloud rap beats with this ambient post rock and electronic elements. For me, this is a really memorable album because it has a song that was super famous and viral on
Yeah.
TikTok. What happened with that song? Well, you did a reimagination, we can say it, of the song
Mhm.
"Stereo Love." That for me is one of my favorite songs of all time. Like, it doesn't make any sense, and I don't like, nowadays you can still listen to that song and you can still feel the vibe. So that's amazing song. And the song actually that you did, well, the title of the song, it's "That's Enough Internet for Today." That's the sentence that you will say when you finish this 10 plus hours interview. So what do you think about this song, and why did you think it was really famous at that moment?
It's funny because when I made that song, I definitely did not expect anything from it. Like that whole album was, like I said, just another like compilation of beats I was making at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
the only reason it's 34 songs is because I think the service that I was using to upload the music, I don't think it let you go past 35. So if it did,
Really?
it probably would have been like 40 or 45. But that song, I feel like in some way I regret it, and in some way I don't. Like, I
Mm,
feel like I
okay.
regret it because it got so many listens, and now it's like I would get nervous. Like, what if I get like sued for that, like a
Mm,
copyright issue? But
yeah.
at the same time, it is kind of cool that that song, that remix, for some reason, got so many like TikTok videos or whatever. It's
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
it's crazy. And also, maybe you feel kind of worried about the people that may know you just because of the song. Maybe
Yeah,
you don't feel reflected on that song, like,
absolutely.
or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just plain sorry for interrupting.
I feel that way very much so with not only that song, but it's another song that I feel like you might mention later, but it's another like remix kind of song. And I feel like these two songs really don't reflect me, but at that time I didn't really care because nobody was like listening to Abriction. So I would just upload anything. Like just
Yeah,
anything I made, I would upload
you wasn't
without
expecting that
thinking.
recognition and everything.
Yeah. I didn't think anybody would hear any of this.
Maybe you mean Perché ti amo, or maybe you mean Monster?
No, the one I don't regret those songs, but the song another song that I kind of like cringe when I hear is this one called 300 Gex, which is like
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. That, like,
yeah,
I was gonna, talk about that song in that transition era from hip hop
yeah.
to something more hard style, EDM, whatever.
Yeah,
That's
that song I kind of cringe at when I hear,
really.
but it's okay because I know that there are some people who like that one, and I don't really like it because the whole point of that song was just like a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't. It was more like I had a friend who really liked Chief Keef but didn't like hyperpop or whatever. He didn't like 100 Gex, and I made that remix just like as a joke, and then I uploaded it, and then a lot of people really liked it, and
Yeah,
I guess
because it
that's
sounds really good. Like I can also say that like one of my favorite hip hop artists of all time is Chief Keef, and the fact that you actually did like the Love Sonsa remix, it's crazy. Like I wasn't expecting that one. Like that's amazing. And also, in this album, I have to highlight another couple songs. Once again,
Mhm,
I'm used to it. Thankfully, All Dress Up, Nowhere to Go, very very relatable. Like
mhm,
when you are like preparing yourself, getting new clothes or whatever really fast, and then the people that you were gonna meet with, they told you there's no plan. You were like,
mhm.
bro, I can
Yeah.
relate to that a lot. And in this one, you sample True Trans Soul Rebel by Against Me, and in this last song, and I'll Dress Up, Nowhere to Go. That is a sample that I recognize at the exact same moment when I was listening to it. And well, Winter 18. Well, there's a lot. Precision. You waste so much time. In this one, you sampled Girl Harbor, my Manchester Orchestra. Raccoon Eyes, Before the Light of Day, Underflow. I mean, this album I really is my favorite one. So Before the Light of Day and One of Us. With you sampled Naked as We Came, if I'm not wrong, by Kina Granis. I have to ask you this because I don't know if I asked you this before, but when you learn to sample that well, and where did you get to inspiration on choosing different songs to sample?
I feel like I first got inspiration to choose those samples because it might have been because of Team Sesh because one of the producers, Grief,
Mm-hmm.
samples a lot of similar music like indie or acoustic stuff, and at that time I was very into like that kind of music like indie or acoustic, and um I think there's a song in there I sampled called like Underflow,
Mm-hmm.
and that's from an artist that I really like, and that's the kind of music I was listening to at that time. And Naked as We Came, I think I sampled on there too. And like I guess at that time I was very into like indie and acoustic stuff, and that
Those are
was what I
those are,
sampled.
really amazing like decisions to sample. Like mostly hip hop beats are usually sampling something like that is really old, maybe
Mhm,
sampling some 60s or even 50s jazz song or whatever. When you listen to, hip hop is one of my favorite genres nowadays, and when I listen to The Alchemist, maybe there is like a really big producer in terms of abstract hip hop. When he produces to someone like Earl Sweatshirt, or I don't know, even that Griselda Records, and all that new hip hop abstract era. They're always like sampling like old stuff that can be like elegant or even like classy. And I
mhm.
I really appreciate when someone is like really honest with the music that they made, that they actually sample the music that they listen to every day or they just is like just an inspiration to create that samples and that beats. So for me, it's congrats on that. Like that's honesty and transparency on making the songs. So that's appreciated.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff I sampled was stuff that I was into in that time.
Yeah, that's amazing. I also noticed that is something that it was, going through in each album in EP, that I don't know if it's intentional, but you always used like an ambient song for the intro and for the outro. Is this an intentional decision? Like you were like making like as I said, like it was like an intro and outro that it was like really ambient song. It was
That was
intentional.
intentional, yeah. I think it's because with every album, and I still do this now, but every album,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's kind of like a movie where you need to listen from the beginning to the end, and
Yeah.
there's kind of like an abstract adventure that you're going on. And I feel like there's like the opening to the movie and there's the closing to the movie. And they're both very like slow moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why the beginning and ending of these albums are like ambient.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. That's something that I had to to highlight because it was like happening in each release that you were releasing in that time. So I
Mhm.
had that question as well. In February 2020, you released "Growing Distant," in which you keep like experimenting with different genres and sounds in these hip hop trap beats, and it's also one of my favorite ones that you ever released in entire discography for me. I have to highlight here several songs and the high quality of production and beat making. These songs, I can name them. So There I Was, Spitting Image, You Don't Know How Lucky You Are, relatable as well. Rightfully So, It Wasn't My Intention to Mislead You, relatable as well. On the Front Line and Cleansing. Also, I want to, ask you about this feature with Project Pat. What is your personal background with him and how did that collaboration come about? If you can talk about it.
That one I did feature him on that song, but that wasn't really like a collaboration.
Okay.
So like I didn't like talk to him or anything at that time. I had just like extracted his vocals from
Mm-hmm.
one of his songs and just remixed it on
Okay.
mine. That was something I used to do a lot. I used to like take the vocals of one song and put them over
Mm-hmm.
my own instrumental or something.
Okay. I thought that it was a collaboration as per se. I'm sorry if I did.
Mhm.
We have here April 2020. You released this the Illusions of Grandeur,
Mhm.
in which you keep experimenting with these hip hop cloud raps, instrumentals mixed with ethereal dark elements. My favorite songs on this album are Connection Refused, Old Habits, the Illusions of Grandeur, and Goodbye for Now. How do you feel nowadays about this release?
That release I think is where I start to actually like the albums. Like I think that one I do like a lot of the songs on there. I can't really remember much of like what like led to the album, like what inspired me at that time,
Mm-hmm.
but I do remember liking the album.
Yeah,
And I think the intro to the album is one of my favorite parts because it's kind of creepy.
yeah, totally.
Um,
Totally, totally. That album, I enjoy that album a lot, and there's like a lot of songs that I actually added to my playlist as well. And in this one, in this next release in May 2020, there's another album called "The Girl Who Cried Death," 23 song album. Fuck you again, which is the last hip hop beats, but some songs are even more ambient and dark, and even you use this type of lo-fi production in some of them. That is really enjoyable and chill. Why did you decide to release an album with that many songs, and what was your inspiration on releasing it? Also, and that's the last one of these annotations. I have to highlight the songs "Better Luck Next Time," "Out of Commission," and "In the Midst." For me, are the probably my favorites in this album. Also, the last song, let me hear here. Okay, like we always do at this time, could be a sample for Suicide Boys. I love that the fact that you were like sampling some Memphis rap funk, and it has like that vibe. And yeah, that's it.
yeah, that album is I really like that album. I think that album was supposed to be a lot more like dark and mysterious, like and a little bit heavier. Like some of the songs are kind of heavier, but My favorites from the album are probably the same ones you picked. Like Out of Commission is my favorite. And
Yay.
that one, I was planning on doing vocals a couple years after. I almost did vocals in that song, but I never ended up releasing it. Better Luck Next Time. Someone who used to be my friend, I don't know if he still makes music, but he actually used that instrumental for some rap song. I don't remember what his project name was, but yeah, I really like those songs that you named.
Wow, fun fact. I didn't know that as well. Like wow. And that,
Mhm.
that songs, specifically, that we always do at this time. I love that, the Memphis rap, it's like, and also like funk. It has like that
Mhm.
vibe, and I really enjoy that song. And next up, in June 2020, you released your last album in this beatmaker instrumental era, called, fuck you with this name as well, From the Bottom of My Heart at the Top of My Lungs. Nah, it's a really beautiful name. I love it. In which you keep improving with these experimental cloud rap instrumentals. I have to highlight some songs as well. XYZ, Hide and Seek in Waterfalls, Ice Queen, Pulling at Strings, and I didn't even mean to hurt you, but it's okay. The universe is showing me how it felt. That is really
Yeah.
relatable. I love that title. And how do you feel about this last full length album released in this first era? It was an intentional decision, like you said, this is the last one that I'm gonna release, or it was like something like natural?
I really like that album. Like I think it's a pretty like nice little atmospheric album, but I don't think it was intentional that it would be my last in that style, but I do know that by this time I was already working on what would end up being Parkway. And I knew that at this time I was going to start doing vocals because for years, like since 2018, I already did vocals, but it was like I never released it
Yeah.
on Abriction. I never released it at all. It would just be like for fun.
Hmm.
Um, because I was always too embarrassed to use like my vocals on Abriction. But at this time I was ready to start doing that.
Yeah.
Um, and this album, I I I really like that track that you named, the I Didn't Mean to Hurt You or whatever. Like that was definitely like another Clams Casino influence.
Totally. That song is amazing. I really enjoyed that last album. And you know that we leave that first era and we move to the
Yes.
transition era, that I call this like a transition era, because we have to mention that single called 300 gigs. I'm sorry for, I have to. It's on
Yeah.
the discography. When I go to
Yeah.
rate your music, it's there. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's it. There is it's a like a mashup remix of 100 gigs and Chief Keef. That is actually a Love Saucer remix that we talked about earlier, with your vocals, and it's like hyper pop mixed with hardstyle and EDM in general. How did the idea of making this song come about? You told me that it was like your friend didn't like hyperpop 100 gigs, and he was like more into hip hop, if I'm not wrong. And he was like a way to make, I don't know if it was a way to show him that hyperpop is really good as well, or I don't know.
I think it was more of just like messing with him, like just kind of like teasing him, like kind of ruining this song that he really likes. But what's funny is the video that I released for that
Yeah,
song,
crazy.
he ended up being the one to edit that one.
No fucking way.
Yeah, because like after I had showed him that song, like he really wanted to make like a video for it. He was like, everybody's gonna love this, and I was like, yeah, whatever. You can make a video if you want. I didn't really care about that song, and I still kind of don't, but he ended up making like a whole little like video edit for it, and I posted it, and people do like that one.
Yeah.
But the
Eh,
way that that even came about was the group 100 Gex. They've released this this folder that had all of like their stems, so
mm-hmm.
like their drums, their synths, whatever, everything stemmed out, and I had it somehow, and I used that to make that song.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just a really funny joke song.
Yeah, but it's crazy that nowadays you can still like when you go to the comment section, there's always someone saying like, "Who is here in 2025? Who is here in 2026 or whatever?"
Yeah.
And it's crazy that even nowadays it is still getting the recognition that for me it deserves, because maybe you see it like a joke and
Mhm.
you cringe when you listen to it, maybe. But for me, it's like a really fun song, and I really enjoy that a lot. Like maybe because I'm not part of that joke or whatever, but I
Yeah.
really enjoy that song. And in Halloween of 2020, oh my God, you released one of my favorite songs of all time, but like a reimagination version or remix, Monster.
Oh yeah,
Originally
Monster.
made by Megan Dia, but in a hardstyle EDM version. How did the idea come about? And I actually love this song even over the .x remix that I don't know if you heard it. Like it was like a more dubstep remix, that
Oh
the
yeah,
famous
yeah,
one,
yeah. I do remember.
and I prefer this one. So achieve, like, congrats on that. And how did the idea of this song come about?
That's kind of hard to pinpoint. I think at this time I kind of I shortly got into like more electronic music. I was always into Bones, so like Bones influence will always be there, even though it's not on that song. But at
Mhm.
this time, I feel like into I got more into like Blade and Young Lean for a little bit at that time. And that's why I did more like electronic stuff here.
Mhm.
But I don't really remember how this one came about. Like I guess this would just be like another like I was just kind of messing around, just playing around with it. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I still hear it sometimes and I think like that song is kind of cool. Like I kind of do like that one.
yeah. It's really nice because, and actually, how did you manage like to start making hip hop beats and then switch into something more electronic? It was like something natural, or you were working on electronics as well a long time ago at the same time that you were working with hip hop beats?
I think it was very natural because when I was making hip hop beats, I was already like using electronic sounds and like learning how to use synths and stuff. So by the time I made like Monster, I already kind of had a background in electronic music and it just kind of came naturally. Like even when I listen to it now, like I can still tell like yeah, I even though it sounds fun and good, I could tell like this is not an electronic producer like because that song is not very complex. Like it doesn't sound like something that a real EDM producer would make.
You
But
mean that it doesn't have like 2,000 layers, right? When they are
yeah,
producing?
yeah. Yeah.
Because I always like, I'm a really EDM and electronic music fan as well, and I really like
Really.
dubstep and hardstyle and all those type of this. And when I see some, there's a guy called Virtual Riot that I really like, that guy. And there's like a video when that he's like showing how he makes this music, and
Yes.
he's like showing the FL Studio, like the software, like the screen, and it's always like 2,000 layers of different strings and leads. So I can understand what you're saying about it. Like it's crazy, but it's amazing that you switch like really easily to something more uh to something that it was like more hip hop and everything, to something more electronic without like even thinking about it. Like it was like really natural. So congrats on that as well. And I have a question that I think that I told you when we were talking, about making the interview, and when we decided to move the interview like 2,000 times.
Mm.
And I don't know if you want to answer, but I saw that it was like a song that it was released and then it was like deleted in every platform. Okay, so
Mm.
that song, I will, if you don't want to answer or you don't feel comfortable answering this one, I
No,
will
that's
cut it
fine.
out and that's it. That song is called Illinois, and
Mhm.
it has when you search your discography and read your music, it appears the name. It has like a cut album cover as well, and that's it. I don't know anything about it, and you are like free to don't answer if you don't feel okay answer it.
No, that's fine. I think I feel like I removed that song a long time ago. Like there were a couple songs from that time that I think shortly after I released them, I just didn't like them and I cringed at them, and I think that's why I took them down. Because I think I remember Illinois a little bit, that song, but I didn't like it, and I guess that's at that time I felt like it was okay to delete things because nobody was really listening to it that much at that
Okay,
time.
I
So
get it.
I also wanted to ask what dubstep like artists do you like? Because you mentioned dubstep, and I was really curious.
Hmm. There's like more like than artists.
Mhm.
It was more songs maybe, but the obvious one is gotta be Skrillex. Like the Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. I have that album
Mhm.
in a physical copy. For me, it's like
Yeah.
the most inspiring album. There's actually like a classic one that I never remember the name of. That is like the a guy who is like called the musical genius of dubstep. Like it's a really old album that I don't remember the name of. Maybe you remember, but I don't remember it at all. And there is another, I really like Virtual Riot. I really like Eptic.
Mhm.
That guy mixes a lot of sounds. Excision, I really love Excision as well, but it's maybe not that dubstep as per se. It's like more chaotic electronic music. But yeah, I really like that type of genre, but maybe I make a mistake when I say that that type of music is dubstep, because is when the people that they are like more they know, the people who know more about dubstep and everything, they always say that it's not that type of music. It's something like more EDM, or even more classic, that is like an electronic sound that it comes from a specific genre. So maybe I'm wrong if I say it, but personally I had to say, yeah, Skrillex Excision, Virtual Riot, Eptic, as I said. At the time I really enjoyed Cruella. Do you know the electronic duo?
I don't think I know that
They
one.
were like a couple of girls that they were like singing over dubstep songs. They were really
Mhm.
famous at that moment. Oh my god, Borgor. I really enjoy
Mhm.
Borgor a lot. The Unicorn Zombie Apocalypse. I remember the song, and there's a lot. But I'm interested now, like which dubstep artists are your favorites as well.
I, I got interested because you said Virtual Riot. My partner really likes Virtual Riot, but I don't know a lot of dubstep artists, to be honest. But I know that um I really like 2012 era dubstep,
Hmm.
like Skrillex and stuff. Like at that time I was listening to a lot of dubstep, but I haven't listened to much like as time went on.
Yeah,
But
I think we had the same like situation, that there was like a stage of our lives like listening to a lot of electronic music, and now it's like and at least for me, sometimes I listen to that type of music. Sometimes when
yeah,
I'm like when I'm optimistic, that is not always. So so for me it's like a really specific genre to listen to when you are like in it's difficult to say. I mean, I cannot think about someone saying that I really feel sad and pessimistic, then I listen to Skrillex. It's something like I don't really feel the connection, but I can. But if something relates to that, it's totally fine. But for me, it's like I have to be in a really good mood to listen to dubstep. So it's
yeah.
really difficult nowadays. I have to say that. Like moving 2021 in January, here you released a single called "Lost and Found." That is one of my favorite songs that you ever released in your entire discography, in which you explore pop and electronic at the same time. How did the idea of making this song come about?
Hmm. That song, I think that's still like during the time where I was kind of into like Blade and Young Lean and stuff, and I think that beat, that instrumental, was definitely influenced by that scene, and I think the vocals were inspired by that too. Like everything about that song reminds me of like Drain Gang and all that. Like
Hmm.
it's kind of melodic and electronic.
I
Yeah,
don't.
I
Yeah,
know a lot of people do seem to like that one. I kind of don't really think about that song a lot, but
you
some
should.
people seem to like it.
You should. And also, this was the first song, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's the last album of the first area where you decided to put your vocals on it.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was this. Is this the first song that you did that like you did vocals on this one, or it was
On
like a
Lost and
previous?
Found,
Yeah,
I think the first song I did vocals on, I guess, would be 300 Gex, I think. And then Lost and Found came after that, I think.
yeah. That's a really amazing song. And also, in November 2021, you released a new EP that
Hmm.
is really interesting called "I Think We Are Dying."
Hmm.
That title reminds me a lot of one of my favorite Lil Peep songs. Um, it is called "Dying" as well. That it was
Hmm.
called with Cold Heart, if I'm not wrong. That it was one of my favorite songs ever. And this EP has a more like a dark wave, witch house, electronic vibe, but you also still use this hip hop sad beats. As I said, it's one of my favorite EPs that you ever released, and I Can Let the Memories Decide for Me is one of my favorite songs ever in your entire discography. Why did you decide to make? You told me already. Why did you say to make a transition from hip hop? Well, it's not like a transition; it's like a blend from two genres to something more electronic, and then to this genre for the CP. And moreover, that was something that I told you before. When we were talking about XX, Tentacion. You sample to no the moon by Teen Suicide in the song Everything Falls Apart. That also, Know the Moon is sampled as well in the song Teeth by XXX Tentacion, which that's where I recognize it. Have these artists been influential for you in some way?
I think at that time, Teen Suicide was kind of influential to me because I was listening to that group a lot at that time. I think honestly a bigger influence on that project, the whole album would be like I said, like Drain Gang, but also like Salem. Like when I listen to I Can't Let the Memories Decide for Me, I definitely get reminded of like Salem, like Witch House kind of music.
Yeah, it has that dark vibe that maybe can remind me a little bit of Crystal Castles as well, or
Hmm.
even I don't know if you know Mr. Kitty.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a really an artist that I really enjoy, and I had that connections between that when I was listening to the songs. And also in December 2021, there is a two-song EP called Suffer, in which you go back in time and you explore again that cloud rap hip hop era, mix it with some electronic and experimental music, but this time combining it with your vocals. I don't know if it was the first time that you actually were using your beats and also you were doing vocals at the same time, like with your vocals in that song. And my favorite here is In Your Arms, I'm a Child. And how did this EP come about?
I think in this in this project, I really feel like it was a little more it sounded a little more organic than
Mm-hmm.
like the previous stuff. Like it felt a little more natural. Like in the previous songs where I used my voice, it was a little more like processed. And here I think the vocals were a lot more natural.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this would kind of foreshadow like what I would be doing later, I feel like. Because I feel like my vocals
Totally,
now are very similar to that song. But
totally.
I think that was just an atmospheric song, and I think I definitely think it sounds like what I do now. At least the vocals do.
Yeah, that's an amazing EP. And also in 2022, there's another two-song EP or single, whatever, called One for Three, in which you keep, with this cloud rap, hip hop genre, but more even depressing and emo. That is like, for me, this is like the song that defines the transition from that first era to the next era that we are going to talk about it right now. Was this an intentional decision? Maybe you were like having some different inspirations at that moment, and that's why you decided to make that transition to something more emo, more depressing, or whatever. And I have to highlight how overwhelming and depressing the song "How Hope You Are Happy" is, and the fact that you achieve that atmosphere that well. Like for me, it's one of my favorite songs. Is like really depressing, and I enjoy it a lot. And also, I love that the fact that I actually write here, thank you for releasing DCP.
I think I really enjoy the song, the first song on that one. I think
Mhm.
it's called Afar or something. I think that one is really nice. Like that beat is very simple, but it kind of reminds me of like I don't know, it just feels very gloomy. It feels very like
Mhm.
rainy, like depressing. And I think that that little project was made during like one of the worst times in my life, and I think that's probably why it sounds so depressing.
Yeah, I can feel that feelings in that song. That they actually you actually put a lot of you in that song, and I really appreciate that the fact that that you released that EP.
Hmm.
And this transition era is finished, so we are moving to the final one. Okay, this second era. And in March 2022, you released the first single of this new DSBM Black Gaze Shoegaze era called Be Nothing. That is one of my favorite songs ever. Like, I really enjoy it nowadays. What is very noticeable, the sadness influence.
Hmm.
What's your personal background with Damian? For those who don't know about that, personal relationship and background, and how his music has been an inspiration to you.
I think at that time, like 2021 and 22, that's when I really got into like black gaze and like um DSBM and all that kind of music. I got into it around that time.
Mhm.
And I think Be Nothing, I think that song is kind of like a mix of like it's kind of like a mix of like kind of like emo, like melodic pop punk that I grew up with,
Yeah.
but also kind of like the DSBM that I was listening to at that time. And um that song, it's funny you mentioned Damien now because that song is actually how Damien first reached out to me was
Wow.
because of that song. I think
Wow.
he heard that song and he messaged me after that, and then we made the split.
Wow, really?
Hmm.
That's amazing. So for the audience that don't know about their personal background, we can say that you're like really close friends, and you made a lot of music together, and well, you played with him in a lot of life and sadness, live concerts as well. And also, I have two questions in this first single, because like maybe because you were going through a lot in that stage of your life, that's why you decided to make that transition, maybe. But you can tell me. And also, what were your inspirations on DSBM, Black Gaze in that time? Because I'm really curious about the the music that people that makes this type of music listen to, because some people say Agalok, Def Heaven, I can say the Calius for the DSBM part. I don't know, there's like or Silencer, I don't know, but you can tell me more about it if you want.
I think at that time, a band that was very influential to me that I think that really got me into this kind of music was Woods of Desolation.
Oh my god, I love them.
Yeah, that
Oh,
that really got me into that kind of music. And
wow.
then through that, I discovered a lot of other artists. I can't really remember all of the projects that I listened to at that time. The only one that still stands out to me would be like Sadness. Like that's I discovered Sadness at that time too. But I had never like spoken to him. I never reached out on my own. I didn't even know that it was a one man band until he reached out to me.
Wow.
But yeah, I think at that time it was a lot of like I guess I really liked Woods of Desolation at that time. I really can't remember what other projects I was listening to at that time.
It's fine. Like Woods of Desolation is a really band that I really enjoy even nowadays. Like even with the last releases, there is an album that their album covers are kind of similar. but
Hmm.
there's a one called "Aligning the Stars" or something like that. As the Stars, if I'm not wrong, that song, that is one of my favorite ones of them. And also, fun fact, they told me yes to make an interview as well. But
Really?
yeah, but something like more. They say that they don't want to make like an audio or video interview. They just want like a written interview. So I'm okay with it. So
Yeah.
actually, yesterday I did an interview. Well, I post an interview with a Japanese band that is like, well, they combine a lot. They combine post black, ambient, post classical, scrammed, screamo, post hard, a lot. They're called Cisne. They are from Japan. They're really good, and they did the same. They were like, well, we prefer reading interviews, and that's what I did. So when I post that interview with Woods of Desolation, I will tell you. So maybe if there are some questions that you want me to ask them as well, you can send it to me. I don't even mind.
Okay.
Um, there's the next day after releasing Be Nothing, you released Luminescent, that is like has this hip hop vibe mixed with emo vocals, and it's actually one of my favorite songs you released as well. Why did you decide to go back to this old sound when the day after you released a DSBM song?
I think at that time I hadn't fully like stopped making electronic music or beats or whatever. I was still making that stuff at
Mm-hmm.
that time. And but I can tell even on like the vocals of that song that it is a little bit different than what I had done before. It sounds, like I said, it sounds a little more like what I do now. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way I'm singing on that song sounds a
Yeah.
little more natural, like
Mm-hmm.
how I sing now.
More organic.
Hmm.
I really have to highlight that vocals on that song as well. In April as well, you released a single, actually an alternate version of a song that you had released in 221, yeah, 2021, called Typo, which the first version was more like a trap hyperpop
Hmm.
vibe, and this new one is like more shoegazy and emo. Why did you take that decision to create two different versions of the song?
I think that that song was kind of funny because originally that song was another like joke. Like
Mm-hmm.
one of my friends sent me a beat and I just did the original vocals over it just for fun. Like it didn't really mean anything. And then like a year later, like you said, I don't know why I had the idea of making like an emo version of it or like a shoegazy or melodic version of it. And I don't know, it sounded kind of like it reminded me of like Midwest emo. Like I just
Mm-hmm.
really wanted to do something like that. And it's kind of funny because of what the song originally sounded like, but I actually really like the alternate version.
Yeah, I actually, because I'm more like an shoegaze emo fan. I really prefer that second version. But it's really interesting that the fact that both versions has like different vibes. So for me, both are necessary. That they are really released. Later in September, you released a cover of Disorder by Joy Division. Like that was for me like really surprising. How did you come with the idea to make a cover of this song, and how important is Joy Division and post punk in general in your life?
I think I've always wanted to cover songs that I grew up with, like songs that are important to me. And I grew up with a lot of Joy Division, but that song in particular was one that I felt like I really wanted to cover. Like that would be a lot of fun to cover
Hmm.
Disorder. Um, I think another influence, this is a group that I still listen to, but I think an influence around this time with the electronic music was this group called Chromatics. And they're kind of, I feel like they're lesser known, but
Yeah.
they're kind of like disco a little bit,
Hmm.
kind of like 80s sounding. And I really like that. And I think that influenced this little period of like that remix and then the Italian song later on that I did.
Yeah. That's
But
such an
yeah,
an amazing song. Like I really enjoyed the cover as well, and it's like it has your vibe, and that's the most important
yeah,
thing. It doesn't sound like the original version at all, and that's amazing. Congrats on making such a great cover as well.
thank you.
And moving on onto October. Maybe this is the release that made the your image as Abriction. If I'm not wrong, for at least for me, you released a two-song EP called Sanguinolenta. That it has like this DSBM Black Gaze vibe on it, and it really made me tear up a lot, I have to say, and it also give me goosebumps all the time. So congrats on achieving that feelings on me. Thank you for this EP. And how did you come with the idea of to release this EP as well? Maybe it was kind of a statement of the music that you were going to start releasing later. And well, you tell me this first because I have to highlight some songs later. Sorry.
I think at this time, I was a lot more into like DSBM. Like another band I really liked at this time was called, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like Apati, APATI.
Mm-hmm.
But that was another group that really influenced me at this time, and I was really into them. And that album, I think it's kind of interesting because I don't feel like my music sounds like that album anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, I didn't really like just like raw black metal. I liked DSBM a lot more. And that was still during like kind of like a depressing time in my life. And I feel like it's very reflected
Yeah,
on that project.
on the album cover, on the songs, on everything,
Yeah.
and on the lyrics as well. And like I have to highlight the song "Those Clouds Never Pass Like Your Promise." What a beautiful title, I have to say. It's one of the most beautiful and well done black gay songs I ever listened to in my life. So, congrats on that.
Thank you.
Where did you learn to scream like that? And will you explain if you have any vocal technique? I'm really interested in this. I'm sorry. I'm starting to learn to growl and to make, some deathcore, metalcore screams and everything. So I'm really interested about your vocal technique or whatever.
I think I really don't have much of a vocal technique. Like, especially at that time,
Hmm.
the way that I first learned to scream was way before that. It was like 2018. And I got into like screaming because of like Bones when I was
Hmm.
like 15. Because he had a few songs back then where he would scream. And that's where I started. And then I just had my own way of screaming. And at that time, the way I screamed wasn't really good because like I was hurting my throat at that time. Nowadays, I think I have a more comfortable way of doing it. But at that time, I would just go scream like as loud as I could.
That's
But at the
crazy.
same time, I think it was worth it because it's very like messy and emotional. Like I think
Yeah.
it's very fitting for that album.
And really, like emotional and natural. That's the
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's amazing because something I have to say that I'm learning, like trying to learn by myself. Well, since I was like 13, like one of my I was an emo teenager, I have to say, and I was always wearing that band merch and T-shirts and
Yes.
everything. And I remember the first time that I listened to, maybe I don't know, maybe a lot of bands, but in that time maybe Suicide Silence, or I don't know. There was like a lot of deathcore and metalcore bands, and I was like really interested in trying to scream. My parents suffered a lot because I was like screaming all day in my room, and and then with the time, I still like learning some techniques, and it's really difficult for me, and I'm really jealous in a good way when someone knows how to scream and even they don't have a real technique, and they cannot, and they don't feel bad when they are like doing it, like any throat hurts, and I don't
Yeah.
know, for me it's like, so I feel so jealous.
The way that I scream has definitely changed a lot over the years, but I feel like in the past 2 years, the way I scream, it doesn't like hurt my throat or anything. Like when I would do the shows live with Damien, I would scream and sing and like do it all together. And I don't really know how to explain it. I think I just, after doing it so much, I just learned a way that was comfortable for me.
Hmm. Wow, that's amazing. Like, wow, for me it's like the one of the most interesting things to learn about somebody that screams, to learn their vocal technique, because each person can tell you different things. So
Yeah.
that's the main point. And we have to reach to that Jeep in
Yeah,
in Bronx full album. We have to talk about this first Abriction, first second era Abriction full length album, released in November 2022, called "I Had a Dream That I Crushed My Dad's Jeep on the Bronx River Parkway." That I hope that is a real dream. Don't don't lie to me. In which you explore like a lot of genres. We can listen to some dream pop, bedroom pop, shoegaze, emo, and many more. And it's amazing. For me, this album is like a whole blend of different genres. And maybe that you were like enjoying in that stage of your life, and you decided to make a different song in each part of the album. And I love that how you always make the music that you want to make. I love that the intro "Fancy Kisses" has autotune on it and it's quite electronic. But then the next song, "Perfect Symmetry," has an ethereal hip hop beat, but with emo and scream vocals. And then we have "Catch My Blood" that is more like electronic witch house mixed with emo. And then "Nine Lives," that is one of my favorite songs you ever released. Like I really love this song. I think I posted in my story like last day, or I don't know. And that is like more hyper pop on EDM. And then we have "Engulf," that is like a beautiful hip hop beat that works as an interlude for me for the album. And I don't know, like the whole album for me is amazing. How did you come with the idea of combining that many genres in one album?
I think at that time it was still the time where I was just like not really expecting people to listen. So I would just make whatever I wanted and put it like all those songs fit together in my head. Even though they're not all the same genre, they still
Mm-hmm.
all have like a common theme. Like the emotions from those songs are very much
Yeah.
reflective of that time of my life. Um, I think my favorite is definitely Perfect Symmetry because it's very emo and it's so emotional. And
Mm-hmm.
when I recorded that, like I knew that I was gonna love this song.
It's such an amazing album. For me, it's like a masterpiece. For me, it's my favorite album of yours in this second era. But at the same time, I've been like f- fucking a lot with the Forbidden Bounds. Like for me, we will talk about it later. But I feel that with Forbidden Bounds, I don't know if you know of this band, but I can see a lot of two bands. Alesana, that is one of my favorite bands of all time, and Ice Set to Kill. Like I can feel that vibes really much. Like I remember the first time that I was like a 13-year-old guy, listening to "Darling" by I Said to Kill Him. For me was like really, for me, like mind blowing, and I can feel that vibe in this Forbidden Bound CP that we're gonna talk about it later, because of that breakdowns, that's some element that I really love about metalcore and
Mhm.
post-hardcore, like that breakdowns with the screams and the dissonant guitars and all the stuff that we can talk about it more later. I don't want to mix the albums as well. But as I said, that this Jeep crash fucked up Jeep is a masterpiece. I have to say, for me, my favorite ones here are "Catch My Blood," "Nine Lives," "Grayscale," "No One Knows," and my favorite one here, I have to say, is I Lay in the Distant Flame." It's my favorite one here. And thank you for this amazing album. Like I still listen it to it like nowadays. Amazing,
Thank you.
amazing, amazing.
It's really nice, like hearing people talk about that album because that album is very, very special to me.
That's amazing. It's my favorite album, as I said, like with Forbidden Bounds, I guess. And after this first full length new era Abriction, we have your first split with Sadness. And it has this dreamy shoegazy emo and lo-fi and black gazy vibe that I really feel inside in my heart. Honestly, how did you make the decision to collaborate with Damian to make this split with him? And I have to highlight as well the quality in all terms of the songs you have in this EP, especially with songs like "Her Summer Morning Sky" or "Breaking Through the Clouds." That for me, this last one is my favorite one in this split.
That album is it's so many good memories for me. I think that is really where it's like the opposite of everything before that. Like it's that was like a very beautiful time in my life where I was really crushing on this girl and like that's what those songs are about. And the way that the split came together was, like I said earlier, Damien heard this song of mine called Be Nothing, and
Mm-hmm.
he messaged me after that and
Wow.
asked if I wanted to make a split. And I was like, yeah, of course. And somehow I kind of knew like the vibe that we would go for on this album. Like I knew it was going to be very like summer, like fun pop punk, like just
Yeah.
very fun, just very shoegazy and fun. And that's I'm really happy with the album. Even though I can tell that I was so like amateur, like I was very new to
Mm-hmm.
like everything at that time, like my guitar playing or like the drums or anything. I still really like that album. It's just a fun album.
Same here. I think I prefer this split than the other one that you did later.
Hmm.
That it has like the, I don't remember the name right now, but it has like the album cover with the legs and the,
Oh yeah,
in the
yeah,
grass. That
yeah,
I really prefer this one. Like maybe because as you said, it's like the less mature version of yourself
yeah,
in this one,
yeah.
but at the same time for me it's like more honest, more, I don't know, more, how can I say that in English? I know the word in Spanish, but it's like more, I don't know the
It's like
word.
raw. It's
Yeah,
like a little more raw.
totally. That's the word. That is raw, and I really enjoyed the split. And for me, it's crazy because everyone says, and everyone is like, "Her Summer Morning Sky" is my favorite song of their EP, and also is one of the most listened songs of yourself, if I'm not wrong. And for me, Breaking Through the Clouds is like even really underrated. Like I really prefer this one. I really think that both songs are amazing, but this song I really prefer than the other one, honestly. And it doesn't get the recognition that really it really deserves. So, moving to March 2023, your first song in the year is included on the split that Sandnes did with Oculi Melancholiarium and Cold Best Friend. That I think that this is my favorite song that you have together. Like for me, it's really beautiful. How did this collaboration come about? Like after the split, he told you to make a song included in this split with Oculi, or what happened there?
I think I can't really remember. I think he just asked like if I wanted to like sing with him on a chorus of a song.
Mm-hmm.
And that ended up being a regular thing after that. Like there's a few other songs that I either did vocals on or whatever later on. Like on our new split, there's I think there's one of his songs that I did vocals on. And then he has another song called like Pink Clouds, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I did vocals on that one too. There's a few that we would sing together. And there's more that will come out as well with both of
Wow,
us on it.
nice. That's so beautiful. The fact that he's always like thinking about you when in terms of vocals, like to add your
Hmm.
vocals in the songs. Like it doesn't strong strongish or strong the relationship that you actually have. Like it's really beautiful. Like it's one of my favorite songs ever. Like amazing. And then moving to May 2023, we have some new stuff. Firstly, something totally different from the past songs, and that actually sounds great. Your reimagination of the song Perché Ti Amo, originally made by you can correct me, right? I'm Spanish. I'm almost Italian, but not that much. Ricci e Poveri.
Hmm.
Well,
I
almost.
think that's right. I think
Yeah.
that's right.
How did you come with the idea of recreating the song?
That's another song that I grew up with because on my dad's side of my family, they're Italian,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard that song a lot when I was a kid. And just like the Joy Division one, I really wanted to cover another song that was important to me. And I I really wanted it to be reminiscent of that time, like my childhood, and it's very like disco-y and like
Mm-hmm.
it kind of reminds me of like the old Italian music.
Yeah.
And that's that's how that one came about. I really like that one.
Yeah, I still like it, that song. I really prefer this version. That I think that some Spanish band or some artist has released like recently another like reimagination or cover or whatever, but in Spanish it doesn't make any sense. Like they're always like "porque te amo" is like no
Yeah.
por qué te amo. It's like I don't like that. I prefer this version even, and that's amazing that you actually have the skill, we can say, to create or recreate songs that actually have like a space in your heart, like in your heart actually, in your life or in your teenage days or whatever. That's really impressive, and I really like that artists are honest with the things they like, and it's really amazing that people like you like doing some recreations or remixes or reimaginations, whatever, of songs that they got stuck in the past days or whatever. I
Yeah.
love that. I love it. Secondly, in the same month, we have the collaboration that you made in the album Aura by In Tears with the song Reaching Out. What is your personal background with him, with In Tears?
I think with this song, I didn't know him yet. I think I had heard his music before,
Mm-hmm.
like a few years before. I think I had heard his music. And at this time, this was the first time we ever interacted. And he sent me an email and asked if I wanted to do vocals on a song.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that it worked was he just sent me the lyrics and I came up with like the vocal melodies and everything. And I've really always liked In Tears, like the style of In Tears. Like it's always very gloomy and like
Yeah,
I really love it. Like that's a very good project.
yeah.
I really enjoyed
I
his
really
music.
like the In Tears, like any album that he released. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing. He's a really interesting guy. I wish I could interview him as well. Like I will share, like send him a DM or whatever. Like I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love
That
to
would be
have him
great.
here. Like I would love to have here as much as third house label people possible, because I really like the music that they actually releasing, and and everything. And then we have one of my favorite works of yours, and it's also one of the longest annotations that I did. I don't know why. Like I have like I don't know how many lines, but yeah. Okay. I'm talking about Interstates. That for
Oh
me is
yeah.
like a such an ethereal, sad, and healing album for me. Beautiful melodies, composition, and one of the best intro songs that you ever released, Stargazing. And also one of the best piano outro songs that I ever listened to. In this one, you in this album, you mix like a lot, but a lot of genres, like gaze, shoegaze, Midwest emo, and many more. I have to thank you again for this beautiful album. You can feel the evolution and improvement in terms of everything through each album. How did you come with the idea of creating this album, and which were your thoughts and feelings while recording it? And I have something like in caps. I don't know why. I will read it. Also, I have to highlight the fact that you sang the melody of City Lights by
Yes.
Motionless in White.
Yep.
I really love my Motionless in White. I'm sorry. And I also have like a question, something like, what are your thoughts on Motionless in White? How they inspire you in your creative process? And my favorite songs. But we can answer first the first ones that I said.
So interstates, I think it's kind of interesting that project. When I said earlier how I start like a lot of projects at once, interstates was started around the same time as the Parkway album. So like the title and the picture, I think what they would have to do with is in my childhood and like throughout my whole life, I always like moved a lot. I moved around the country a lot and I lived
Mhm.
in a lot of different places. And I see like a lot of the same interstate highways a lot. And I think it was just like a nostalgic feeling. Like the cover was very gloomy, but
Mhm.
it's a picture I took on
Wow.
the way from like New York to Illinois or something. But um the first song I think it was that has the Motionless in White melody. I actually got into Motionless in White because of my dad. He's a big fan of Motionless in
Oh
White.
my god, that's impressive.
Yeah. And at first I was not that much of a fan because I heard a lot of their newer stuff, and
Ah,
I feel
makes
like
sense.
I'm less into like that kind of music. Like if you know the song Werewolf by
Yeah,
Motionless in White, I'm a little less into like
yeah,
that
same.
kind.
Even America or that covers.
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy that type of stuff.
And then I remember a couple of years ago he showed me, he was like, I think you'll like this one, and he showed me City Lights, and I was like, damn, like that
From the
song
album
is really
creators,
good.
that is like
Yeah,
the best
yeah,
work ever.
yes. I like a lot of their older stuff. There's like a few modern songs from them that I like, but I really like their older stuff.
Yeah, same here. From creators, I remember the songs, well, City Lights, Scissor Hands as well, Cobwebs, .com Part 2. I remember that they had like an older era, that like there is a song called Ghost in the Mirror, that it was like in a MySpace era and all that stuff. I really enjoy Motionless in White, and it's crazy and amazing that the fact that I can talk with someone about this band, because it's one of my favorite metalcore emo. I don't know which genre, because they mix even electronic in some songs. But there's a song. Um, I don't know if that's the name of the album. There was a song called Creators, that it has that musical video, that it has like BDSM in that video, and
Mm.
Torture and everything. That song for me is like amazing. The way that they make breakdowns, the fact that they actually release a song with Brian Garris from Knock Loose, or even the fact that they are like keeping releasing music that maybe, as you said, I'm less interested. Maybe, I don't know, but there are some songs actually that I really enjoy. Masterpiece is a song that is like, it sounds like Breaking Benjamin, that song,
Yes, yes.
and that's why I really enjoy it. And I don't know, this they releasing like on Dead at Head Part 2, that it was like from Halloween, and they released like a Part 2 of Creators as well. I don't know, I really enjoy Motionless in White in general. Chris for me is like one of the best vocalists in metalcore scene, and I love that the fact, and sorry for talking too much about Motionless,
No,
but
it's okay.
it's a band that I really enjoy my entire life. Like, it's amazing, and I really appreciate the fact that you sang that lines or that melody in
Yeah.
this intro. Like, it's amazing.
I think there's a I really like referencing music that I really like, or music that inspires me.
Hmm.
Like whether it's I don't really sample anymore, but whether it's by sampling or singing the melody of another song, I really like to reference songs that are important to me.
Yeah, and you can feel like, I don't know, that the fact that you actually did it with Motionless for me is like really special. Like,
Yeah.
many people can relate to it, and at first when I listened to that intro, I was like, oh my god, this is City Lights. And when I go to the comment section, someone said City Lights, and I was like, oh my god, I'm right. And in this album, there are some songs that I want to highlight. Obviously, Stargazing, Drifting Endless Pace, Fly Away, Purity, and Her Kiss in Red Light. That is my favorite one in this album. Amazing songs, amazing album, and congrats again for releasing. Every time that you release like a full length album is always like a masterpiece. I don't know. Every time,
Thank you.
every time. Then in October 2023, you released one of the most original and different singles I ever listened to, Pink Stream, where you combine electronic sounds with emo and shoegaze music. Such an amazing song. What were your inspirations on making this song? Because I feel like those synth emo songs from that beautiful MySpace era, one of my favorite songs that you ever released, for sure. What do you think about this song?
I think that song was very inspired by like emo bands I grew up with, like Senses Fail or
Oh
whatever.
my god. Another band that I love. I'm
Jimmy Eat
sorry.
World. Yeah. I love Senses Fail.
And
Like
Jimmy Eat World
like
as well. Oh my god.
a lot of those bands, I think that would have to be where the influence for that song comes from. Because I listened to those bands like my whole life.
Hmm. Amazing.
But Pink Stream was actually supposed to be on the second split with Damien. So it's kind of interesting. Some of the songs got like moved around, but Drifting Endless Pace from Interstates
Hmm.
was supposed to be on the first split with Damien.
Oh.
But I took it off because I didn't feel like it fit And then um, Pink Stream was supposed to be on the second split, even though we ended up releasing it like 2 years later. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
that was supposed to be there.
Thank you for the fact because I didn't know about it as well. And
Mhm.
and I don't know, like when you mentioned Senses Fail, I just can't forget the fact that one of my favorite songs by them, it's a song that is all sung in Spanish.
Oh, oh,
Mi amor.
yeah,
That is one of my favorite songs by them. And well, Can Be Saved, the typical songs. That
yes.
actually I discovered since Sense Fail because of Guitar Hero 3.
I loved the Guitar Hero games when I was a
Yeah.
kid. I
I,
played a lot of them.
I still play it nowadays. Like there's like a newer version called Clone Hero or
Clone
something like
Hero,
that
yeah,
that you can actually add any song. Like people make songs and you can add it. So it's like amazing, the best experience ever. Like I
yeah.
really
I've
recommend it.
played Clone Hero a little bit. I've played it a few times.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So we are moving to 2024. The first release of this year was for me your one of your best albums, I have to say, Banshee. Before speaking in detail, I have to ask you if there is like any concept behind this album.
I think the main concept behind the album is like I reference it in a few lyrics on there, but it's the concept of a banshee, and I think it's more. I think the album was mostly just like a very like angry album. Like it was very dark. It was kind of back into the direction of like darker emotions.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
totally.
that's really what it revolves around. Like a lot of the lyrics are pretty like negative and dark.
Yeah, this song is, I mean, this album is really dark, but also incredible. Like you have Pale Morning Horizon, a song that in the
Mhm.
beginning is aggressive and dark, but then evolves to a more colorful and beautiful song that works for me perfect as an intro. Then you get something more electronic and emo, such as Streetlights. Then to something more shoegazy and emo that reminds me a lot of I Said to Kill and those emo bands that they were popular in that moment, but heavier, and so on. I love how you combine like a lot of sounds and genres in just each song. This is for me your opera prima, like your masterpiece. For me, it's like the most maybe the most recognized album that you have. But also for me, it's like the opera prima. Like I really enjoy it. What was your inspiration to create this album, and why did you decide to make it? And later, I will have to to highlight some songs as well.
I feel like it's interesting how there were some electronic songs on there, like
Hmm.
Streetlights. I really can't remember what my inspiration was to like mix those songs on there, but I think one of the most interesting facts about this album is the song Relieved of All Senses.
Hmm.
That that instrumental I actually made many years before. I made that instrumental, I think, in like 2021. So before Parkway, I think it was around the time I made like the Chief Keef remix. I made that instrumental and I never knew what to do with it because it I don't think I don't think I was in the like I wasn't I don't know how to explain it. I just couldn't do anything with it for years.
Hmm.
And then at this time when I was making Banshee, I felt like I was in the right headspace to do something with this song because it's kind of dark, it's kind of like heavier. Um but I think my influences on this album would be like just witch house. Like I think that this album is a little bit witch housey. It's
Yeah.
kind of experimental.
Yeah, it's such a masterpiece. I have to to highlight some songs. I'm sorry to mention like almost each one of them, but No One Cares, that is my favorite one in this album.
Mhm.
Till Rain, my second favorite on this album. Souls, such a beautiful and charming song. Superposition, Redshift, amazing song in caps. I have it in caps. Amazing
Mhm.
song. Handled with Care, such a deep and sad song for me that I actually like feel really deeply. And Carried, that is one of the most beautiful songs in the album. And if I'm not wrong, it's a reimagination of or a sample of another song. Would you tell me which one?
Yes, that is Headache by Grouper. So
Noted.
that's the melody that I was referencing on that song.
Noted. For me, it's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece album, and congrats on that because, as I said, and I repeat, like with each release, you get even better. Like it doesn't make any sense. You're always evolving, but in a better way. So, congrats on that. Like, I have no words on that.
I think on that album it was I think I originally wanted that album to be more like metal. Like I think originally I didn't want to blend so many genres. I wanted it to be a metal album,
Yeah.
but it ended up being like just a blend of a lot of things.
This album is great. And then there's something more like from something like really sad, deep, or blend with a lot of genres. We have something in June 2024 as a surprise, or I don't know if you said it or whatever. You release only on SoundCloud a new synth pop song called Lala Dance World. Why did you decide to release this song and just only on SoundCloud? Like it's not in any place and just on SoundCloud. Why?
I think there's a couple songs that are only
Yeah,
on SoundCloud
another
that
one,
like
zero CC, 00.
yeah, I think those songs like I don't put them I didn't put them on Abriction like officially released because I just felt like they didn't really like
Fit.
they didn't fit and they
Mm-hmm.
weren't really like serious songs. Like they were just kind of made for fun, especially that one, the Dance World one. Like that was just made for fun. Like it's just it's like a little dance beat. Like the other one that you mentioned, Zeros, that one I actually really do like. I made that one with a friend who also worked with me on Nine Lives. He produced a little bit of that beat.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the stuff that I didn't want to put on Abriction, but I wanted to release it somewhere, I would just put it on SoundCloud. And I think that's what that other project is for, Heaven for a Heartache. It's
Mm-hmm.
for like it's more electronic, and that's where I'll be doing a lot more electronic stuff.
Yeah, and there are songs like a lot of another songs in that SoundCloud era. We can say there's a song called 3K, and there's another song, If This Is Love, that I didn't like put any annotation of it, but if you want, you can talk about it, about the songs as well.
Yeah, I think I 3K I think I don't remember much about, but If This Is Love, that one I made like during Parkway when I was making Parkway. And I didn't end up putting it on Parkway because I didn't like it enough to put it on there, but
Mm-hmm.
that was just another like I think that song was just another reflection of like being a teenager, being depressed, like
Yeah, amazing.
probably very drunk, like just it kind of has the same energy as Parkway, but just it didn't make it because I didn't really like it enough.
Yeah, that that's so great that the fact that you actually like put some SoundCloud songs, like even caring about if someone was gonna reach them out or
Yeah.
whatever, and I really appreciate like that fact. I don't know, and like there's something there's another EP in October 2024 of three songs called So Far Away in Time, in which you mix shoegaze, emo, and scream as well. And it's also a collaboration with Colin in terms of drums. I don't know if this is what the first time that you collaborated with Colin, but what is your personal background with him, and how much do you think he contributed to the final sound of the EP?
I think he contributed a lot. Like I think without him, that album would be so much it would have less life to me at least. Like I think having Colin on there, it really brings a lot of life to every song. Like I'm very, very thankful that he's drumming for me and he's very talented
Yeah,
at
he's
what he
amazing.
does. But that album was the first release where I had Colin on the drums. Because originally that those three songs did not have real drums. And I think I met Colin through Dismalimerence, which is a band that I think is from Chicago.
Yeah, I know
And
them.
I played with them when they played with Damien, and they're awesome. And I think they knew Colin, and that's how I got in touch with Colin. And now I'm in touch with like Colin's band too, like the other artists that he plays with,
Hmm.
and they're very cool too. He's in a lot of bands, but yeah, Colin will be doing drums for me for hopefully ever. Like I
I
would
hope
like to,
so as well.
yeah.
He sounds amazing. He's an amazing artist as well. And you know, like this EP is one of my favorite EPs that you ever released. And I have to highlight some songs, if you don't mind. Sunlight on the Sea for the melody
Hmm.
selection, drumming, guitar melodies, and scream. Right here, in the realm of thought, because of how unique, beautiful, and different it is. And it's my favorite from this EP. And Trail of Time, because you know of the melodies and mostly because of the synths and calling drumming. Like this EP is amazing. I love it. And moving to April 2025. Well, until April 2025, we don't have songs from you, if I'm not wrong. And this one is another collaboration with In Tears in his Read Becomes You album. The song is called Your Angel Underground. It for me is like really ethereal, electronic, but heavy and beautiful song. I love how both of your voices are blend together. Like that combination is really interesting and beautiful. And how did that song come? Like it was like another collaboration with him, like, do you want to collaborate in this album or whatever?
So he actually emailed me again like 8 months before that, and I didn't see it. And then I felt really bad when I saw it, and I was like, yes, I really do want to do another song with you. And then we did that, and it was kind of the same process where like
Mm-hmm.
he sent me the instrumental and he sent me the lyrics, and then I just came up with like the vocal melody and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really happy that like after I sent it back to him to hear his vocals on there, because in some parts he was kind of following like my vocals, and that really reassured me that he liked like everything I came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he first sent me that, I immediately knew what I wanted to do with it. Like I knew like this is gonna be fun. Like it's a very like sing along kind of song.
Mm-hmm. I hope you guys like collaborate together again in the next few
Yeah.
releases or whatever. Like you guys like together sound really good as you as the duo with Damian as well. Like you guys like sound, you know, both voices sound amazing. And then, you know, in May 2025, you released your first and only music video for the to the beautiful song "If Only Your Best Was Good Enough." If I'm not wrong, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
With the production of Grayera on it. What
Mhm.
is your personal background with him, and how did that song come? Because if I'm not wrong, this song was produced by him. So I don't know if that's the only song that is from your project Abriction, but it's not produced by yourself. If I'm not
I
wrong.
th- I think it is the only song that's not produced by me, and that's why it's not uploaded to like Spotify. It's only on, I think, YouTube.
Hmm.
But I really did want to upload it, but I wanted permission from him first, and I never got it, so that's why it's only on YouTube.
Okay.
Um, so I have no like communication with him. He's a producer from, I think he's from Team Sesh as well.
Oh.
But I made that song a few years before I uploaded it, and I think that song was supposed to be part of Parkway as well.
Hmm.
But I could never get in contact with him to get permission, so I just never released it.
Okay, that makes so much sense. And also, I want to ask you, who made the video?
The video, I made the video. I think
It's really
some of the
beautiful.
clips, I don't really remember what it looked like honestly, but it's just a bunch of like
Hmm.
random clips kind of thrown together in like a
Yeah,
gloomy way.
I really enjoyed that song as well. And you know, it's sad that it's not on Spotify, but you know, like that situation, you know, it's
Yeah.
really noticeable as well. July 2025, we don't get another release of you in this time, a new split with Sadness as well, called That Lasts Forever. And for me, is as I said that the first one for me is the best collaboration split that you have together. This one for me is the best split ever made in the black gaze genre, shoegaze genre. Like that's my favorite one of any one of it.
Mhm.
Every song is beautiful, chaotic, dreamy, ethereal. I don't know. It's for me, it's amazing. Regarding your songs in this split, The Light That Brings the Clouds is such an amazing, a beautiful song, with those guitar melodies and synths. For me, it's an amazing song. And then we have My Heart Is Your Home, which for me is the most amazing song, not just by yourself, but just in the talking about DP in general, like the split. And it has everything I like for a song: beautiful chords, melodies, piano moments, and obviously your amazing screams. What do you think about this split with Damian?
I think this split is a lot more like sad than the first one. Like I think this one feels a lot more like not dark, but just like depressing, like a lot more gloomy. My favorite song of my own on there would probably be the Light That Brings the Clouds.
Hmm.
But I do like I like every song on there. But I think I really like I really like this song from Damien on there called I Left a Message for You as well. That one really stands out to me. I
Yeah,
like that one.
totally.
And then on New Body, I don't remember who else he has on vocals on that one. I don't know if it was his cousin or who, but I'm also doing vocals on New Body with them. But yeah, that album is a lot more gloomy. It's a lot more like it's a little more like sad than the first one.
Yeah, totally. But for me, it's like, as I said, the best split ever released. Like, I
Mhm.
don't find any better split than this one. And it's crazy the fact that, as I said, it has like this song, like, I repeat the name, but My Heart Is Your Home. Like, for me, it's really deep. For me, it's like
Yeah,
I really feel connected with this song. Like, I can actually, I wish I could have, like, I wish you released like a physical copy of this one, because I wish I could like have it in a tangible way and hug, this split, especially because of this song. I don't know, it has for me everything that I really like. But as I said and you said, the song that you really mentioned before, The Light That Brings the Clouds, for me is like amazing as well. I think that when you make a split with Sadness, you highlight even more than him, and it's really difficult because he's like one of the most talented guys I ever listened to. So for me, it's like crazy that when you are like collaborating with him, you are always like highlighting that much. You are like always making that great work in the split. So congrats on that. I really appreciate it.
thank you.
Then in the same month, we have something like kind of crazy. One single and also collaboration with Nightworm. There is
I
called Fairy Kisses. Like, it's a
yeah,
remix.
yeah. I remember. I think okay, I think that was I kind of forgot about that, but yeah, there was a remix of that. I really like that one. That one, I think that they just like had asked me for the stems to that song,
Hmm.
and I was really happy that anybody still cared about that song. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I didn't really interact with that artist that much, but that was still very cool that they remixed it.
Yeah, it's amazing because that song is was from the Parkway album, right?
Yeah,
So it's amazing that even years later, like, he contact you and say, "Can I remix this?" And that's
yes.
amazing. The fact that you guys collaborate in that, well, collaborate, like, he did a remix on that song. And then October 2025, we get the last album you release, at least today. Today is 18. Maybe, I don't know when this gonna be released. I have like 20 interviews recorded, so I have a lot. But in October 25, we get this last album that I is the only one that at least nowadays I have in a physical copy, and obviously I'm buying them all after this interview. Called Forbidden Bounds, an amazing album for me. Is my favorite one right now. Like, emo, screamo, hardcore, metalcore elements, breakdowns. For me, it's amazing. I also realized that you told me before, even like even going through all your discography, the influence of Tony Hawk, and that you can feel in this album, even on the title. In the title of the album looks like the, as I said before, the Neversoft logo. Could you tell me? Well, you told me before, but the the Tony Hawk fascination, and why did you decide to release the album? Moreover, you work with Colin in the album in terms of drumming, and also with, well, we can say this question later if you want to ask this first, because it's like a long question, so I don't want to confuse you or whatever.
Forbidden Bounds is definitely like to me it's like the most fun Abriction album. Like I even though Parkway is like the most emotional or like the most sentimental at least because it's like me growing up. I think Forbidden Bounds is like the one that I really go back to a lot
Hmm.
because I really I feel like this is something I wanted to do for a long time. I feel like Banshee was supposed to be like a very heavy like metal album, but it didn't end up being that.
Hmm.
And even though I like Banshee like the way it turned out now, like Forbidden Bounds is like strictly a metal album, like all the way through. And I've been wanting
Yeah,
to do that for a very long time.
it's such an
I
amazing
think
album. Yeah.
I think I wanted it to be like black, like more like black metal oriented, and it's definitely not black metal, but
Well, in the blast beats, you can feel
yeah,
that black metal vibe,
yeah, for sure. But I think it's more like hardcore influence, like a
post-hardcore, emo,
hardcore
metalcore.
metalcore. Yeah, yeah.
Totally, it's amazing. As I said, moreover, you work with Colin in terms of drumming, and also with Maikai and Charles for the voices.
Mhm.
How has been working with them for this most recent album? And also, well, this question first, because later I have to highlight almost every song. So that's it.
So those artists are part of a band that Colin is in, which
Okay.
is Ash Breather, and McKay actually engineers the drums. So like he's the one who I think records. Like he has the drum set up and he records everything. He records Colin and he
Mm-hmm.
sends me the stems for me to mix.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I will be meeting like some of them soon when because I'm probably going to go see them in Canada at some point, which will be really awesome. But yeah, they did vocals on one of the tracks on that album called Your Eyes on the Sun. And Colin does vocals on that song and Knob Creek. He does some screams on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all very cool.
Yeah, it's such an amazing collaboration with them, and really great work of both of you. And highlighting some songs, I have to highlight Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. One of my favorite songs of your entire discography for me is like the perfect intro for this album.
Yeah.
SHA 512, that someone said something like, if you search this in Google, it will appear something like a bomb or whatever. I don't know what.
What that is it's it's um it's called like a cryptographic cipher. So it's like
Okay.
it's not really relevant to me in any significant way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I don't really even know much of what it actually means. It's just
Okay.
like some kind of like encryption thing. But the reason why I titled it that was just because it looked cool and also the lyrics on there are kind of like
Yeah.
using like computer analogies, like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of computer terms on there.
Yeah, yeah, totally. There's another song that is my favorite one of this album. Blood on the Tracks for me is my favorite one, at least for me.
Yes.
Your Eyes on the Sun with that dissonant breakdown at the end. I really enjoy breakdowns. Like, it's my one of my favorite things ever. Fall into Yourself because of that melodic hardcore breakdown at the
Mhm.
middle of the song and in the end. Knob Creek because of how chaotic and black metalish it sounds, and Naranja of how complex and well this song is composed, and because of the drumming, the melodies, the breakdowns, and that switch at almost the end of the song. For me, it's amazing album, my favorite release of 2025 for sure, and a 10 out of 10 for me. Like I said, I write album of the year, but AOTI, like album of the year. For me, it's amazing. This album, like I was talking with my best friend called Sarah about this album. She was like, at first I didn't listen to this album because I had the physical copy, and I was like waiting for my for preparing the interview to listen to the whole album, and having some recent feelings about it. And she was like sending me a lot of songs of listen to it, listen to it, listen to it. We shared that favorite album, that is this one in 2025. So thank you for releasing, like, thank you for doing, like, I don't know the word in English. There is a word when you're like when you um take back again a sound that it was like really popular in some kind of
Hmm.
point. And I really enjoy that. Like, thank you really much for that. Then we are ending with this. I'm sorry for a lot of time, and if I'm wasting a lot of time, like, I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay.
In the same month and year, we had like a new split called April Tears and Abriction. This time with April Tears. What is your personal background with him, and how did that collaboration come about?
I actually don't remember how we got in contact, but I had known of his project for a while because one of my friends was a fan of April Tears.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember how we got in touch to make a split, but I think originally I don't remember if I had another song on that split originally, but Shiver, the song that I have on there was made probably like 2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit more of like a darker one, but
Yeah.
yeah, April Tears is a really good artist.
Yeah, and I was gonna highlight this song Shiver, because how
Mhm.
beautiful, black gaze, dark, and it is. And also your vocal melodies, and that switch to something more electronic, experimental, and ambiental in that song. It has like that elements. And finally, regarding your appearances as a guest artist in some other artist songs, as we talk about, with your connection with sadness, I want to highlight something that you did really recently. That is like a guest appearance that you did this new year in this same month with Anna Pest in her last album, exactly in the track called Moongazer. What is your personal background with her, and how did that collaboration come about?
So the way that I know about Anna Pest is also through Colin,
Mm-hmm.
because he plays drums in Anna Pest, and we had been planning this for a while, like for me to do vocals on one of their songs. And this song, I feel like this song, like I could see why they asked me to do vocals on there because it feels very like Abriction,
Yeah,
like.
totally.
But yeah, I really like that song. It's very heavy.
Yeah, that's an amazing song. And with this final song, we are ending this Abriction era. But I didn't want to underrate or mistreat your other project called Heaven for a Headache. So I have like three questions, and that's it, because I don't want to
Mhm.
take much time for you. But when and why did this project begin, and what did you decide to start an alternate project besides Abriction? You told me earlier that it was a way to release some music that you want to release, that it doesn't fit a lot with Abriction, maybe, but maybe it's like more detailed or whatever.
So a lot of those songs on that project are just a lot of them were songs that I made back in like 2021 that don't feel like they have a place on Abriction because they're more electronic or just a very different kind of feeling from Abriction songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of music like that I've made and that I still make sometimes that I never release because I don't think it's gonna like fit anywhere. So I think that is definitely like the project to do the song. Like that's where that electronic stuff will be.
Totally. And you actually released like just an EP for this project, in which you mainly make sack trap with some ambient and ethereal elements. Even I have to say something like related to jazz trap, I mean to jazz rap and cloud rap elements. But in some other songs, like Razor Blades and Alcohol, or Delete Conscious, they are a total different vibe, and also really feels like a really personal and intimate album, at least for me. I don't know if I'm if you feel the same. What was the main idea of or concept behind this first EP, or and when are we getting new music for this project as well? If there's new music for this project.
The I think when I made most of those songs, I was still like in the same mindset that I was when I made Parkway
Mm-hmm.
as well. Because I think some of those songs were supposed to be on Parkway. I think Delete Conscious was supposed to be on Parkway. And then for some reason I didn't like it, so I didn't do it. But um they all kind of have to me like a similar vibe as of Parkway. Well, no. I actually don't remember when I made some of the other ones, like 4 a.m. or whatever. I don't remember. But a lot of those beats I made like many years ago when I was still making, you know, um, like atmospheric hip hop beats or whatever.
Yeah,
And I think new music on that project will be honestly pretty soon. I have a lot more stuff to release already.
it's amazing because I mean, I really love the fact that you actually released music in this alternate project, but you actually didn't say a word until now, right? Or
Yeah,
maybe, yeah,
I
because
didn't I didn't really tell anybody because I didn't I know I didn't really intend to like attach it to my identity. Like I just wanted to put it somewhere and then if anybody finds it, they could find it and you know.
and that's it. Well, if you still feel that way, we can cut this question and whatever, and we can and so and the only person in this in this stage that can know about it. So you tell me if you want to
No,
keep it,
that's
that's okay.
fine. That is fine, yeah.
Okay,
You
I
can
really
keep it.
appreciate it. I Before saying goodbye, there's like two questions that they're more like curiosities or something like fun facts.
Hmm.
I saw that you have a Patreon. Okay, so what can fans expect to find there, and how important is that space to for connecting more closely with your community?
So on Patreon, I do a lot of like demos, like early demos of stuff. Like even before Colin drums on it, like very early stuff I put on there, like previews, stuff that I won't release, or like sometimes I explain like the meaning of certain things or the process of certain songs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's pretty much what I use that Patreon for is just giving people like an inside scoop of, like how the song is made or what it means or like an earlier version
Yeah.
that wasn't released, stuff like that.
Yeah, because something I realized, not talking about the Patreon, there is something different because you are actually like answered really well that question. It's something that I don't know if I asked you before, but maybe I'm wrong, but if I'm not wrong, talking about the lyrics that you actually write and use to your music are not like really easy to access, right? So
Yeah.
what was the main intention of that on that, like to not hide, but maybe let people, I don't know how to explain it, but it's something like really interesting, the fact that you actually don't put like explicitly your lyrics in your songs. Why did you decide to do that?
I think sometimes I really just don't think to do it. Like with Forbidden Bounds, I try to be better about that and include the lyrics
Yeah.
everywhere. Um, Usually it's on Bandcamp, I think. But I honestly there's not really any intention on not releasing the lyrics. I think it's I never thought about doing it.
Okay.
And then I when I remember to do it, I do it. But it's definitely on like physical releases or
Hmm.
the Bandcamp page as well.
Yeah, there's something that people was like curious about as well, so I had to ask it because I for me it was like really not difficult, but less accessible, we can say it like that.
Yeah.
And there's something that I don't know if it has any sense if I ask this, but I read a comment saying that many people discover your music through the Penguin Girl video. What the fuck is that?
I'm thinking. Oh, I think the Penguin Girl video.
I saw
I
that
think
in a couple comments, but I was like doing some research, and maybe if you have that memories like recent, maybe you can tell me more about it. But it's like a that's why I put this in the curiosities and fun facts, because I don't even know that about it.
I think what that is I left a comment on on a video from a girl on YouTube who makes like videos about like computer software, like
Okay.
um and I think she pointed out my music in that comment, and then a bunch maybe some other people clicked on it
Oh,
through that
okay.
comment.
Okay, that makes sense. So you are
I think her
like,
name is like
yeah,
I think her name was like Bread on Penguins or something.
noted, noted. So you said something like you are like into computer software
A
and all
little
that.
bit.
Oh, so you like coding.
I used to a lot more when I was younger. I don't really anymore. Like I thought I was much more into it, but not much now.
It's crazy because I'm a programmer, like I'm a web developer, like since I was 18 or something like that. So
So so you know about like Linux and stuff, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so that's what that girl made videos about, the one that was mentioned just now.
talking about kernel, about a lot of Arch Linux and
Yeah,
every aspect of that. I'm more
yeah.
into web development, .NET, C Sharp, Python, and all that stuff. But it's crazy that the fact that you are interested in that as well. It's really nice. So before leaving, the last question, the most difficult one. I know you are exhausted. I'm exhausted because this morning I did a 2+ hour interview too. So today is a
Hmm.
little bit overwhelming for me in that aspect. So sorry for maybe being not that fast as I would love to be. I want to ask you this tough question. Can you tell me your top three, five, or even 10 albums that maybe influence you day by day, or maybe the albums that they are most important in your creative process? Really difficult, right? Oof.
That is that is very difficult because I feel like I've discovered so much music in my life,
Yeah.
but I think one of the most I think okay, let me really think about it.
Hmm.
One that comes to my mind immediately would be this album by the band Thrice called
Hmm.
The Illusion of Safety,
Yeah.
I think is the name. That album is very, very influential to me. I think like when I hear Forbidden Bounds, like I can tell like that I listen to that
Yeah.
album a lot.
Totally. Totally.
Um there's this band, they're a little more like indie or pop punk, but they're called Block Party.
Oh,
And
oh, Helicopter. I know the song
yeah,
from
yeah.
Guitar Hero as well.
Yeah, their album I forgot what it's called. I think it's like Silent Alarm, but it's a white album, and
Yeah.
it's I think that one melodically is very important to me. And another one that I really have to mention would be I think it's a Nine Inch Nails album. I don't remember if it's called Year Zero or With Teeth, but
Hmm.
Nine Inch Nails is very, very influential to like how I write melodies and everything. Like very, very influential to me.
It's crazy because we don't see like a lot of that industrial stuff in your music, but
Yeah,
you take that melodies stuff. That's crazy. Mm,
yes.
that's amazing. So before leaving, and that's it, I have to ask you to say hello to two of the most fans that I actually know. One is my best friend Sara. You can if you can say hello to Sara Duki, and also one of a friend of mine that he's like a really big fan of your music as well. That he's been listening to your music since a long time ago. Normally when he's like going to the university and in the car when he's driving, so he has like he's like a really big fan of you as well as Saraduki is. So do you mind? Like I know that it's like a big fan stuff and it's quite awkward, but I have to.
What can you repeat his name?
Yeah, Saraduki
Hmm.
and Vaporilla.
But I'm gonna have
Vaporilla.
trouble pronouncing that. But
Po
Vo
Vaporila.
Vaporila.
Yeah.
Okay. Vaporila and Sara, thank you so much for listening. And I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Matt.
And
Thank you so much
hello.
for the shout outs. I didn't ask them, and I was like, I want, I want Meredith to say hi. They will be like really happy. So thank you so much for that, and
Thank you.
also thank you so much for all the time that you spent with me. I hope that you felt comfortable. I know that this is your first video interview. I hope that I've been the best host in this first one because I'm quite awkward in not talking in my main language that is Spanish, so it's quite difficult for me. I tried my best, and also I'm really tired of the day that I had today. So for me it's like my mind is really working really slow. And thank you really much for your music, your everything, for everything, honestly. Thank you for your time, and thank you for taking your time to being here, being honest and transparent, and talking about literally every aspect and every music that you ever released. And I have to say that thank you really much for everything. I hope that this week is even better than the last one, and I hope you feel great. Your pet again feels great, and I hope that everything goes well. And thank you so much for being here. Like, I have no words.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I wish you all the best.
You too. You too. I wish the same for you. Thank you really much. And well, I hope we see Damian and you with me together soon. I hope. I hope so. Honestly. Thank you really
Me
much for
too.
everything.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.